Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Bucks in the driver's seat in their first-round playoff series against the Magic, led by Giannis Antetokounmpo's 31 points, 15 rebounds, and 8 assists. Milwaukee defeated Orlando 121-106 to take a 3-1 series lead. Mavericks big man Kristaps Porzingis' right knee soreness questionable for Game 5 tomorrow versus the Clippers. Raptors guard Kyle Lowry uncertain for the series opener against Boston Thursday with a sprained left ankle. Now that the 76ers season is over, the process likely done as well. Widely expected that Coach Brett Brown will not return. Philly does need to move on from him, according to First Takes Stephen A. Smith.
You've had 3 or 4 years with Joel Embiid healthy, with Ben Simmons in the lineup, and this is what happens. So at the end of the day, I question whether or not he has the pulse of these players, that he's maximizing what he has to work with.
Our Stephen A. Smith. Stanley Cup playoffs, Avalanche goaltender Philip Grubauer and defenseman Eric Johnson out indefinitely with injuries. Colorado trailing 1-0 takes on Dallas tonight.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate it.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Muso. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one, folks. Lots to get to. Jeff Duncan in 15 minutes. Talk some Saints. Muso's back. What's up, Muso? How are you, man?
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Long time no see.
Muso's back. Paulie, you saw Muso over there?
I saw him.
Is this a new thing? Are you back for good? What's going on over there?
No. There's a couple storms brewing.
Heard about that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, one of them is already passed. And then
Did
it's
he?
Well, yeah. It's
I didn't notice.
Well, is it passed or is it? Well, is it? Was today? What day is this? Yeah, Marco was just like, yeah. It's. When are we ever going to
Marco
learn?
opted out of the 2020 hurricane season.
Well done. Marco opted out. Laura looks like she may be a heinous bee, but we'll find out probably in a couple of days. But it's so interesting, though. Like, were we ever going to learn our lesson when it comes to storms? Yes, you need to be diligent. Yes, you need to be prudent. Yes, you need to take steps to prepare. And I'm never saying don't ever do that. But like they made the call on closing schools and everything. Like Eric and I were at an engagement party. Yes, we went to an engagement party. We went to an engagement party on Saturday, and we're there at 7 o'clock or so, and she gets this text alert that schools are closed. And I'm like, hey, already? And I'll be darned, it's just such a pretty day outside.
It's gorgeous.
All these LSU students got the day off. Enjoy the day. This is college life. LSU football, however, did not get the day off. They continue their preparation for the 2020 season, which amazingly, man, we are inside of 5 weeks. So 4 weeks from this coming Saturday is September 26th. That's the opener, LSU against Mississippi State in Tiger Stadium. We'll talk plenty about, we'll update some things that we learned today. Verge Osbury was on off the bench this morning, talked about attendance and tailgating, some other things which we'll get to. So a lot of that. The Saints have, very surprisingly, to many anyway, the Saints have released Nigel Bradham, who was the offseason pickup, the big offseason pickup for New Orleans as they were looking to add some veteran depth to the linebacker spot. But nonetheless, Nigel Bradham out, so New Orleans now moves forward with some really good young linebackers that they're excited about. So we'll get to a lot of that coming up, and as we mentioned, Jeff Duncan here about 10 minutes from right now. So the AP Top 25 is out. It is worth noting in the preseason AP poll that the Associated Press voters did, in fact, announce that they would include teams not playing in the preseason poll. However, once games kick off, those not playing will be removed from the poll. So in this initial preseason top 25, you have 9 teams that are ranked that aren't playing football. So the top 25 as it sits today on August the 24th looks vastly different than it will on September 27th or 28th, right after that first week of full week of games when the SEC plays, et cetera. So as it sits, this is not altogether tremendously surprising. Clemson is your preseason number 1. Ohio State, your preseason number 2, with Alabama preseason number 3. So both Clemson and Ohio State leapfrogging Alabama. I do wonder if perhaps Ohio State got a bit of a nod there because some of the voters knew that they wouldn't be playing, so it made it easier to leap Ohio State ahead of Bama because you won't have to make that decision moving forward. Or maybe they're just giving them the benefit of the doubt because of Justin Fields, whereas obviously Tua is no longer at Bama, and Bama's looking to replace a quarterback with either Mac Jones or Bryce Young. So Clemson, Ohio State, Bama, that's your 1, 2, 3. And then LSU comes into that next tier after those top 3. Georgia's at 4, Oklahoma 5, LSU 6, followed by Penn State and Florida 7, 8. So you'll obviously notice there LSU coming in at 6. Coming off the national championship, a lot of LSU fans, understandably, were upset about LSU being ranked as low as they are right there. And I actually agree. It is worth noting that a preseason poll isn't worth a whole heck of a lot, as LSU showed a year ago. But you're going to go play out the game, and especially because in this particular poll, you have 9 teams ranked that aren't going to be ranked once games kick off, that aren't playing this season. So all of this is going to shift. Ohio State will be out. Penn State will be out. LSU will move up at least to 5. But I do think when you look at Georgia, Oklahoma, LSU, that's really, like the top 3, I think everybody knew that's how it was going to play out. Trevor Lawrence is back at Clemson, fine. Ohio State had Justin Fields. If you want to leave him in the preseason top 25, fine. And then Bama's Bama, and they're always going to get the benefit of the doubt, so whatever. Georgia and Oklahoma being ahead of LSU is what I don't really understand, because Georgia obviously is losing Jake Fromm, and they have a giant question mark at quarterback. You could say Jamie Newman, you could say JT Daniels, and I do understand that, but Jamie Newman was an average at best quarterback at Wake Forest, and there's a lot of people who are psyched about what he can be potentially, but we also saw a team last year that was void of weapons outside of George Pickens, and I think he's a really good receiver, but Georgia defensively is going to be very good. I think they have massive questions still on the offensive side of the ball, and I know they're getting healthier at running back, but still, big questions. And you're looking at a schedule where they have to go to Bama, where they still have to play Florida. They have to play Auburn. And then Oklahoma is the same. I mean, the last time we saw Oklahoma, they were giving up 63 points to LSU. What's to say that that's any different? That was with Jalen Hurts, and now you're going to replace him with Spencer Rattler, who hasn't played a snap. I'm not saying Oklahoma isn't going to be good. These programs deserve the benefit of the doubt because they're consistently really good. There's been a rinse-repeat element to those programs. I'm not saying they should be outside of the top 25, but I do think when you look at LSU, considering the season they just had, they should be ranked ahead of both Georgia and Oklahoma. If I had to vote, LSU would be 4th ahead of Georgia and Oklahoma in my poll, or maybe even 3rd ahead of Alabama. If you're wondering the rest of the top 10, Oregon's at 9, Notre Dame at 10. Oregon, by the way, of course, isn't going to play. Notre Dame at 10. There's Auburn at 11, followed by Wisconsin, Texas A&M, and then Texas at 14. So a couple of schools at LSU, obviously would have played this year. Oklahoma State is 15, Michigan 16, Southern Cal 17, followed by North Carolina at 18, and then Minnesota, which of course won't play football this year. Cincinnati, preseason top 20. Central Florida, Utah, Iowa State, Iowa, and Tennessee rounding out the top 25. So a couple of other observations. Receiving votes, Kentucky and Mississippi State receiving votes. So a lot of hype there or credit there given to Mark Stoops for the job he's done, and a lot of expectation on Mike Leach and Mississippi State, the fact that they're receiving votes. That should not be a good team this year, but Mike Leach coming over with KJ Costello, the grad transfer from Stanford. But when you look at the schedule in the SEC West, it's very hard to imagine Mississippi State cracking 500 this year. But we'll see how this all plays out. In any event, the other thing that stood out, aside from the 9 top 25 teams that won't be playing football this year, aside from Tennessee sneaking into the top 25, and then obviously the other SEC schools receiving votes, the other thing that stood out is that every single year we have this exercise, this grand exercise, where we see programs like blue bloods, like Texas and Michigan, who always, and Notre Dame by extension as well, but Notre Dame to some degree, I think, has been more consistent than those programs and maybe deserves a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. But Texas and Michigan are routinely ranked inside of the top 10, only to disappoint. It was nice to see this year the pollsters say, I'm not going to be duped by you again. Texas at 14, Michigan at 16. The pollsters very much looked at them too this year and said, you're going to have to prove it to me. Now, Michigan's not going to play football this year, as we know, but they were 9-4 a year ago. Texas was 8-5. Those are teams that shouldn't be ranked in the preseason top 25 or preseason top 10, and this year aren't ranked in the preseason top 10. So LSU preseason 6, that's where they'll be whenever they kick it off against, well, actually, you know what? I say that, but they may actually be 5th when they kick it off against Mississippi State because the poll will alter once games are played. And, we got college football in 2 weeks. You ever realize that? I mean, you don't have a full slate of games, but we do have college football games on the schedule 2 weeks from now. So in 2 weeks, whenever and they finally play games and the top 25 is updated, we'll see that. I mean, Thursday, September 3rd, y'all. Thursday, September 3rd, Central Arkansas at UAB, South Alabama at Southern Miss. You've got football 2 weeks from Thursday. And then September the 5th, that's Saturday, you've got Houston Baptist at North Texas, Arkansas State at Memphis, Middle Tennessee at Army, Eastern Kentucky at Marshall, SMU at Texas State, Stephen F. Austin at UTEP. I'm not telling you those are things you need to cancel all plans to be glued to the TV to watch any of those games. My point is, you got football coming up on September the 3rd. We're 2 weeks away from college football. That's pretty darn exciting, y'all. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. NFL steamrolling towards its kickoff as well. Saints back on the practice field today. Jeff Duncan of The Athletic was there. He'll join us next. We'll talk about how the Saints look today and the surprising cut of linebacker Nigel Bradham. That's coming up. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Carriages in Bocage. CarriagesBR.com. CarriagesBR.com. Tell them Matt sent you in when you go see our friends over at Carriages. Courtyard in Bocage Village, where they've been for 30 years. They've got the best selection. They got the best in-house tailor. They've got the best projects that they work on, like what they just did with Johnny O brand, an amazing Johnny O brand polo, sort of a light purple, almost a lavender with the national championship logo on the left breast. You've heard me talk about this. It's one of the few special projects they've got working with Johnny O brand. This is the first release. It's there at Carriages in Bocage as we move toward the start of the season, and you're feeling like you're a bit nostalgic about this past national championship season and you want to go stock up on a new championship item to support this coming football season, Carriages in Bocage has got you covered. Voted by you the best men's clothier in the Best of 225 awards. It's Carriages in Bocage. Shop them online at carriagesbr.com. Carriagesbr.com, and tell them Matt sent you in to Carriages in Bocage.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
And I built it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Glad to have you back with us here. Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. Week started off with some interesting news out of New Orleans Saints camp, where linebacker Nigel Bradham was surprisingly cut. Jeff Duncan, theathletic.com/New Orleans, good enough to join us. He's one of the chosen few who got to watch practice today. Jeff, how are you, man? Thanks for the time.
Doing good, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Let me just start with your reaction when you saw the Nigel Bradham news.
Well, it was a little surprising. You just picked him up about a week ago. I think they were looking for some experience in the linebacker core, maybe some depth there. It's an area that they didn't really do much addressing in the offseason. But Bradham, from what I've been able to understand, just did not report to camp in great shape. And, that happens sometimes in this COVID environment where players, especially some veteran players that weren't with teams, didn't have a chance to work with any training staffs in the offseason. So I don't think it's a huge surprise given these unusual circumstances we're in.
Jeff, is the Bradham cut more a circumstance of Bradham not performing well through a full week of padded practice, or, as some have suggested, maybe the emergence of some of the young linebackers?
Well, I think it's a little of both. I think these young linebackers that the Saints have on their depth chart have flashed here in the last few weeks. And the Saints are set with their starting crew. So Bradham really was being looked at as depth. And I think when you start getting down into the second 13 units at linebacker, you have to have players that can contribute on special teams at that position. And you have to have really athletic players. And if you're not in the best condition and you're looking at a backup linebacker spot, you really have to be able to get up and down the field on punt and kickoff coverage. And so I think that was also probably a factor in how they made this decision.
Jeff, I'm not sure if you've given this any thought, but I am curious, just as someone who watches so intently covering the team during training camp and preseason games, the Saints would have by now played their second preseason game. So we would have had just a much better look and idea of how things look. How do you differ or how is your gauge of this team now different than if they had played two preseason games up to this point?
Well, it's a lot harder to gauge some of the backup players, some of the young players that aren't getting nearly as many reps during practice as they would, say, during preseason games when they might get a whole quarter of work or a quarter and a half of work. And look, we've all heard the phrase before, game players, and then there's practice players. Certain players can perform well during the week, but when the lights come on, they do not perform, and vice versa. I remember Jake Delhomme, when he was with the Saints as a backup, he was just an awful practice player. It's one of the reasons why he never was able to unseat Aaron Brooks for the starting job, because he did not perform in practice as well as Brooks. But when the lights came on Sundays, Jake Delhomme was a gamer. Certain players have that in them, certain players don't, and I think those are the ones that could be getting hurt worse because of this lack of preseason exhibition games.
I guess we could say the same. The receiver Emmanuel Butler a year ago, right? He had great practices and then didn't perform well in the game, so he would sort of be an example to the contrary.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I know that also for these young receivers that come into this offense, it's so complex, so sophisticated. What they're going through right now are just basic installations of the offense. They're going through now, I think they've gone through 3 times the entire offensive package. So it's kind of a lot of repetition and kind of memorization for these guys. But once they start getting about a week out, 10 days out of the regular season, that's when they start going game plan specific, preparing for the season opener, the upcoming opponent, and they go from Saints offense 101 to PhD level. And these young guys their heads swim. And I think he was one of those guys that got caught up in the escalation of sophistication of the offense. And he basically just was redshirted last year.
Yeah. Jeff Duncan's with us on Twitter at JeffDuncan_. Make sure you get the correct Jeff Duncan on Twitter. What's the hashtag you all use? Like, not that Jeff Duncan?
Yeah, hashtag, not Jeff Duncan. I mean, there's a U.S. representative from South Carolina who's fairly polarizing and controversial, and I get a lot of his wayward tweets, unfortunately.
Make sure you use the proper Twitter handle at JeffDuncan_ is where you'll find this Jeff Duncan. You read us up at theathletic.com/New Orleans. Cesar Ruiz, I saw you tweeting earlier today that he was running with the ones at center. So let's start with how he looked today.
Yeah, he looks terrific. He looked a lot better today, his second day of full work at center. He had a couple of hiccups yesterday, which is to be expected. But I think the Saints are going to be fine whoever ends up as the starting center. I think it's basically an either or. Either Eric McCoy is going to be moved back to center here after a few days of work at right guard, or they're going to have Ruiz there. But I think both those guys are versatile. They're both very smart. And Ruiz is very athletic. He's got very quick feet for a big man, and you can just see the athleticism. And the Saints, as we all know, we've watched this offense for a long time now. They love to run those screen passes out in the flat to Alvin Kamara, get the ball out there. That requires really athletic interior offensive linemen. That was one of Jari Evans' great strengths, and also one of the prerequisites for center in this offense. And so I think they're going to be good either way, because I think both McCoy and Ruiz can get out there in space.
A couple more for you, Jeff. Anybody that I know, like, whenever you go watch practice, we'll jot down notes. Somebody made a play, somebody stands out, someone flashes. When you're jotting down your notes, who is that, or maybe a couple of names that are catching your eye early in observing practice?
Well, a guy to watch for Saints fans, he was here with the team last year, but he's kind of taken a leap this offseason, is Curtis Granderson. He was an undrafted free agent a year ago out of Wyoming. He's an edge rusher. Kind of worked hard this offseason to add good weight to his body and his frame. Has put on a lot of muscle, very explosive player off the edge, and I think is going to be in the mix as an edge rusher. And that's an important factor for this defense. They've had a lot of good sack numbers over the years and some decent pressure numbers, but then they've also disappeared at times with their rush. In particular, last year against the Vikings in the playoffs, they just didn't have much. If he could be a rotational guy in there with Davenport and Cam Jordan, I think that'd be a huge factor. He's a guy to watch, certainly. And if we were having preseason games right now, I think he'd be one that would be standing out.
Does Carl Granderson remind you of anybody that the Saints have had in a similar role throughout the Peyton Breeze era? That build, that role, not every down guy, but a good edge rusher that could come in and spot you?
Well, I hate to bring his name up, unfortunately, because Saints fans do not have a positive taste in their mouth from Junior Galette, but that's who he plays like. I mean, he's a very explosive guy. I think he's a little stronger than Galette off the edge. He reminds me, actually, of my early days covering the Hazlitt Saints when they had a guy named Charlie Clemens,
who
was excellent role player, specialty pass rusher. He's got that kind of ability, and he's been, I would say, dominant so far in camp off the edge. I mean, he's very difficult to block, and let's see if it transfers to the games. Just like we talked earlier, can he do it when the real lights come on?
All right, two more things. One, do you have any sense on Kamara, if they're going to get something done here before the start of the season?
No, I don't. I think it's probably on the back burner.
Okay.
I say that, and they'll probably sign, a half hour from now. But, for the most part, they tend to, once camp starts, they like to kind of put that contract talk on the back burner and let them focus on football. But make no mistake, they want Alvin Kamara back here. It's just going to be a matter of at what number, because he's a key part of their core going forward.
And I saw you also tweet the COVID numbers, and I don't mean to make anybody into a doctor in this segment, but you had a reaction to the fact that the COVID numbers are very impressive. Do you get the general sense, being around the Saints and just in NFL circles, that there's a general? Let me not ask you a leading question. What is is there a general feeling about how this has been handled so far through camp?
Yeah, well, look, I think everyone's pleasantly surprised, but the NFL, Matt, has got $70 million invested in these testing protocols and equipment. They're using some of the best medical specialists, testing specialists in the country. They can afford to get the best, and I think the work that they've done leading up to camp, and the education and all the best practices that they've employed, they had the benefit of time. They could go and send officials over to the English Premier League and observe how the Bundesliga handled these things. A lot of other leagues walked this plank before they did, and they were able to kind of take some of their best practices and employ them here. So it doesn't surprise me, with all the resources and all the attention they put on it, that things have turned out as well as they have.
He is Jeff Duncan, theathletic.com/New Orleans. Jeff, before you go, man, wanted to send a congrats. I saw your post on Facebook, and I saw that you were honored by the LSWA, Louisiana Sports Writers Association, for the story of the year in 2019. So there's the picture for those watching right there, receiving the award. Man, our congrats to you, man. It's a great honor.
Yeah, very much so. Thank you. Very humbled by that, and just great to be able to shine a light on a kind of a heartbreaking story. We hope we can have a happy finish to that story that unfortunately kind of went awry in the last decade. But there's some positive recent news and developments that might eventually lead to us getting a stadium built down there for Carver High School. Be a great ending to that story.
It is the Ninth Ward Field of Dreams. If you want to go check it out, theathletic.com/New Orleans. Make sure you're following Jeff on Twitter. Follow all of his work again on Twitter at @JeffDuncan_. Make sure you get the right and the real Jeff Duncan. Thanks for the time, man. We appreciate you as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Have a great day.
You do the same. Jeff Duncan of The Athletic, theathletic.com/New Orleans. I am super encouraged by Zach Bond. I'll talk a bit later in the show and give you my full thoughts on the Nigel Bradham release and the rest of the Saints linebacker situation, but I am really, really, really encouraged by Zach Bond, because that's a guy that probably would have been a late first or early second round pick. But if you remember, Zach Bond had a dilute sample at the combine. He said he drank a bunch of water for weight purposes, but it still flags you, and if you have a dilute sample, then it's graded as a failed drug test. And so that's what happened to Zach Mettenberger, if you remember, at the combine his year. It happens every year, and they always release those results like a couple of days before the draft, the week before the draft, or that's when they're leaked. And then guys are affected by it every single year. And so Bond's a guy coming out of Wisconsin that might have been a late first, or I think, if I remember correctly, Mike D had a late first-round grade on Zach Bond. Maybe even had him mocked in the early or mid-30s, like late first, early second round. And he waited until round 3 because of that dilute sample. And so the Saints got a first-round talent in round 3, and apparently he's flashing. And I think that made the decision to release Bradham that much easier for New Orleans. So we'll talk more about it. Thanks to Jeff Duncan for a couple of minutes with us here. Does great work, and we appreciate his time. It's after further review. Quick break. We'll go around the SEC. Remember, you can watch us on CST or on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. You can jump in the YouTube chat there as well, presented by Bayou Ford. It's after further review. Glad you're hanging out. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. So certainly relevant to tell you now, with Marco skirting us and with Laura looming, that Insurance Network of Louisiana is here for you. If you are an Insurance Network of Louisiana customer, they have posted on Facebook and their social media accounts all of the necessary contacts that you would need if, in fact, you are affected by the storm. They have all of the direct contact lines there. So if you, as Marco and Laura approach, if you're a customer of Insurance Network of Louisiana, all of their carriers that they're partnered with and their claims contact numbers, should you sustain damage, it's all there. So everyone stay safe, but remember, Insurance Network of Louisiana is here for you if you are, in fact, a customer. And if you're not, it's a great time always to call to shop for better coverage for less money. 293-0450, 293-0450, or online at lainsurance.net, lainsurance.net for Insurance Network of Louisiana.
This is big, really big. I mean, really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richards Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Camry for $239 per month or take 0% financing for 6 years. $239 per month or 0%.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Disappointing news for former LSU safety Grant Delpit. Of course, won the Thorpe this past year as the best defensive back in college football. Was a unanimous All-American a couple of seasons ago for his phenomenal season. Practice. And then just a bit ago updated by saying Browns are concerned rookie safety Grant Delpit suffered an Achilles injury. He's undergoing testing now. So that is really, really disappointing news, man, for a guy who suffered a broken collarbone before his amazing sophomore year at LSU, but came back from it, and then last year was limited by that ankle injury that just nagged all season long. Appeared to be healthy and ready to go for Cleveland here in his rookie season, but not good early on. But we'll see if we can get an update from Cleveland on Grant Delpit at some point during the show today. And if not today, I'm sure we'll have it as soon as it's available. We'll let you know. So here's hoping all's well with Grant Delpit, but that certainly looks tough being carted off today from practice in Cleveland. But it's after further review. Glad you're with us. Of course, our Monday shows all throughout the year brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. It's worth mentioning. I mean, with storms in the Gulf, it's never obviously opportune, but one of the things that we did at our house whenever we moved in was we installed those Cat 5 storm force impact resistant windows from Relief Windows. And these are Cat 5 approved in Miami-Dade County, where basically that glass, you ever seen the commercial of Brandon Holly swinging the crowbar at the window and it won't bust? That's those windows. And it gives you a ton of peace of mind to know that if you end up in a storm and debris flying, that you're not going to have anything break through your windows. So, and they come with a lifetime warranty against labor, material, and glass breakage. It's Relief Windows. At times like this, it does give you relief that you have that type of protection at your home. So, Relief Windows. Windows, door, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Here's hoping everybody stays safe. But if you end up needing any repair work done, windows, doors, or siding after these storms, here's hoping we don't. But remember, Relief Windows is always there for you. Okay, it's after further review. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Auburn Tigers.
Third Auburn player has opted out of the 2021 season. Josh Marsh is a redshirt sophomore linebacker. He follows Chandler Wooten and defensive back Travion Leonard as Auburn players who've chosen to sit out because of COVID-19. Marsh, though, was a career backup. He played in just 3 games over his first 2 seasons. He redshirted in 2018. Potential option now to fill that fourth linebacker spot is true freshman Wesley Steiner, who is a top 100 signee in the 2020 class.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
A second Mississippi State football player has chosen to opt out of the 2020 season. This time it's senior cornerback Torrey Dixon. He joins junior cornerback Tyler Williams in sitting out. Dixon intends to leave the program as a grad transfer, though, at the end of the year. Was not clear if his decision was due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but it appears as though it is not because of his intention to play next year. Dixon's never been more than a special teams player during his time there in Starkville. From 2017 to 2019, he recorded just 1 tackle.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia got a commitment Monday from Dijon Warren, the number 1 rated cornerback in the JUCO rankings on 247 Sports. Chose the Bulldogs over Penn State. Was thought to be a pretty heavy Penn State lean throughout his recruiting process, but ultimately picks Georgia. He's a 4-star corner, 6 foot 175. Now, his season in junior college this year is postponed, so Warren says he'll stay home, finish classes online. He'll report to Athens as soon as he can in December. He's the 14th verbal commit for Georgia's 2021 class.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
And it became official today, Monday. Kentucky has hired Bruiser Flint to replace Kenny Payne as John Calipari's lead assistant on the basketball staff. Flint's 55 years old. He was an assistant on Cal's UMass staff for 7 seasons as UMass became a national brand there in the mid-90s with Marcus Camby and Carmelo Travieso and Edgar Padilla and that whole crew. Flint was named head coach at UMass after Cal left for the New Jersey Nets, and then later became the winningest coach in Drexel basketball history, where he coached for 15 seasons. Flint has worked the last 3 seasons as an assistant at Indiana. And there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. They're online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com. for Gulf Coast Office Products. Remember, interactive whiteboards, they've got them over at Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. If your office equipment goes offline, Trey Beal and his gang, they can get back to you next day by 10 a.m. at the absolute latest. In so many instances, because they've got warehouses in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and North Shore, Lafayette, they can get to you the same day with the parts you need to get you back online in a hurry. It's all about efficiency. It's Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com. GCOPnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. I was just jumped in YouTube, and Chad said, Muso. Muso, do you have that available yet?
It's not the full thing. It only sent 2 seconds of
No, that's cool. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Okay, can you play it? This is my son, Drew, saying Muso's name. He loves it. So my kid has kind of become obsessed with I don't know why, but he's kind of become obsessed with watching the show. And he doesn't really like the show. He just likes some of the antics. Like, he loves Hump Day. That's like, he thinks every day's Hump Day. And he goes through the whole hour open. Like, he'll find the show on YouTube. He'll watch the hour open and then scroll back. So near the end of your time with us, when was when did Muso come about instead of Muso?
Oh, man. Oh, you know what it was? It was Skip's birthday. It was Coach Bertman's birthday.
Yeah.
When you and Terrio called him and sang him happy birthday on the air.
We did that. And so, but Coach Bertman, who I wasn't going to name him, but you did, refers to you as Muso. Instead of Muso, he says Muso. And so that's when Terrio started calling you Muso, and it stuck. And as we do the hour intros, and I would say, Paul O'Neill and Muso, like that. My son Drew thinks it's hilarious, and so now he runs up to me and he'll just go, Muso, and he wants me to say Muso. And so I sent this video to Muso of Drew, and he really was just, I'm sorry about that, he was just in a T-shirt and a diaper. Did that make you uncomfortable?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, it's fine.
It's literally just my kid in a T-shirt and a diaper yelling Muso. And so I took a video and sent it to Muso. So now you know what to look forward to. You got the kids running around with diapers yelling your name.
Living the dream.
And that's it. You know you've arrived when?
There you go.
When you've got little kids running around yelling Muso all day wearing diapers. So good to have you back there, Muse. So you're back tomorrow?
Yeah.
What about the next day?
I don't know.
Maybe?
I think that depends on Laura and how much storm coverage the Brain has to do.
Yeah, so Brian Haldane, Brain, is also the morning show host on our sister station, Talk 107.3 FM. So with storm coverage, he was pulled away from here, and they made Muso double dip. Do you hate double dipping?
I don't mind it.
Yeah,
I don't mind it.
You're so agreeable. You know that?
I like to work.
Well, that's good. No,
working
is good. But the whole getting up early.
That part I hate. I've made no bones about that.
Have you overslept yet?
Yes, I woke up at 5:37 one day, and I'm normally here already cutting audio.
But you haven't missed the start of the show.
Oh no, I've never done that.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, never done that.
Were you inebriated?
No.
I
was just
flat
tired.
out.
Yeah, I was tired.
Slept.
It was a Friday. It was the first full week, because remember when I started doing it, I didn't have my first full week of it until the third week doing it, because I was out of town. Then I had my sister's wedding. Then I had so it was the first full week, and I was just zapped. I was like, I don't want to get up.
What time did you get here?
6:10.
Were Jordy and T-Bob already here?
Yes.
What did they say?
They both texted me when I was on the interstate. I was just like, yeah, I'm on my way. It's fine. They didn't say anything on that. I was just like, audio might be a little thin today, guys.
Muso. All right, it's after further review. Muso's hanging out with us for a couple of days as Brain does storm coverage. Here's hoping that Laura is a non-event like Marco. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1. Stick around, AFR.
AFR.
Of course, Marco skirted us. Thank goodness for that. And Laura is in the Gulf and may very well hit. If throughout this event you have roof damage, Premier South Roofing. If you're not sure if you have roof damage, Premier South Roofing. They'll come out to your house for free, get up on the roof, inspect it, and let you know if you need a roof repair or a roof replacement. And the best thing about Premier South Roofing is they can handle the entire process. So if they get up on your roof and determine, you got a spot here we probably need to repair. Okay. They will contact the insurance company. They will handle everything from filing the claim all the way through the completion of the work, and all you pay is your deductible. It's Premier South Roofing. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Super Service Award from Angie's List, the Torch Award for Ethics in Business during a storm. How about hiring a company that wins ethics awards? That's Premier South Roofing.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Camry for $239 per month, or take 0% financing for 6 years. $239 per month, or 0% for 6 years. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Happy Town, USA.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Coming up right after the top of the hour, about 12 minutes, we'll talk about LSU's continued preparation for the season, which continued today, even amid the threat of Marco. But again, it goes to show you why sometimes being patient actually pays off. LSU was very patient with their progression with Marco, and it ended up being a non-event, and they were able to practice. Same for the Saints. Sean Payton on Sunday after practice talked about what the plan was, obviously with Marco and the uncertainty, but it was looking better yesterday, and then with Laura still in the Gulf.
When I finish talking with you guys here, we're going to meet, get an update relative to both of these storms, and then begin to put a plan together, whether it's here or at a satellite location. Here, we gotta look closely where generators are, how it affects our facility, how it affects the indoor facility. When would the Superdome be ready with their turf surface? So really two options. One, obviously being here, and how are we impacted here potentially with power outages? And then two, in the event that we would want to move or have to move, plan B.
Again, the very good news, and from an LSU standpoint, we'll talk about this after the top of the hour, but the very good news as it pertains to Marco is that Marco is completely sort of evaded us here in the capital region and certainly in New Orleans as well. But Laura, and this is the latest projection from our friends over at our news partners at WBRZ. Can you pull this, Paul? There's the map. This was 5 minutes ago from Dr. Josh Eachus over at WBRZ. And Laura looks like it's wobbled. I'm not a meteorologist. You know I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not going to try to pretend to talk. But what does look evident is Laura strengthened. It's showing that by Thursday at 1 a.m., making landfall west of Baton Rouge with maximum sustained winds of 105 miles an hour. As of right now, it's looking, Laura has 60 mile an hour maximum sustained wind. So they are projecting, as of now, a strengthening of Laura and making landfall somewhere around the Louisiana-Texas border on Thursday morning. So that's the one we'll obviously keep an eye on over the next few days. But thankfully, Marco spared us, and we didn't get the double whammy like many were projecting. So we'll keep an eye on that. And here's hoping that everybody's safe and Laura decides just to go, take a U-turn and go off into the Atlantic and just hang out up there. Before we wrap up this hour, I mentioned this with Jeff Duncan when he was with us earlier this hour. And this was Jeff's tweet regarding the COVID testing in the NFL. And there's a bigger picture topic and angle here. But from August 12th through 20th, here's the NFL's COVID-19 testing from August 12th through the 20th. They administered more than 58,000 tests, 58,397 to be exact. I want you to just stop and think about that for a second. 58,397 tests administered. That's essentially like the entire lower bowl of Tiger Stadium. Think of it that way, okay? If the entire lower bowl of Tiger Stadium was filled with people. Positive tests among players, 0. Not one positive test among 58,397 tests administered. Among other personnel, when you extend beyond players, like the coaches or executives or other personnel, there were 6. So out of 58,397 tests administered, 58,397, you had 6 positive tests. That comes out to 0.0001%. The reason that this is relevant, there's a couple of things here that obviously make sense. And you probably saw the news over the weekend that 77 positive tests were deemed false positives. There was a lab in New Jersey. They contaminated the samples, and they had ruled 77 players had tested positive. It impacted 11 teams. Bills quarterback Josh Allen was among them. The Vikings had 12 players who had tested positive. The Jets had 10. The Bears had 9. Come to find out, they were all false positives. The lab screwed up and contaminated the samples. But a couple of things. It's further evidence why case counting, maniacal case counting, is not a good idea. If we obsessively counted anything, like if we obsessively counted, had like a running ticker on the news channels every day of auto accidents, for example, and auto deaths, we would obsess over to the point where people would say, we can't drive. Also, as it pertains to the NFL season and just life in general, remember, the NFL, with their 58,000 tests and 0 positives, are not existing in a bubble. This was a big concern, right? Well, they're not in a bubble. They can't possibly make this work. 58,000 tests, not one player tested positive. That also speaks to the possibility of college football existing outside of a bubble or anything else existing outside of a bubble. And to the thing that we've talked about ad nauseum now for half a year, which is there is a way to go about your life and do it responsibly. If you wash your hands, if you cover your sneezes and coughs, if you're sick, you stay home. if you do your best to socially distance and not infect other people. The NFL's proving it, and that's going to be a great thing for the NFL. It's also going to be a great thing for college football as well throughout the fall. Good job, NFL. It's after further review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows, title sponsor of our Monday shows. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. Okay, it's after further review. Quick break. We'll come back after Sports Center. LSU Executive Deputy AD Verge Osbury updates attendance and tailgating. That's coming up next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about our friends over at GMFS Mortgage and GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. That's GMFS Mortgage. And for every single loan they close, they make a donation to Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center in your name. You close a loan with GMFS Mortgage, they're making a donation in your name. And last month alone, more than 600 donations made to Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. That's being a great community partner. They're helping people save money by refinancing their mortgage. They're helping people realize the American dream of home ownership, building that home of your dreams, but also helping our community by putting a dent in cancer and supporting cancer research in our community. It's GMFS Mortgage. Log on. They are our state's largest local lender. They are local, and all loan decisions are made right here in Louisiana. But they have offices all over. They're big enough to serve the entire state, but also small enough to give you that specialized attention. It's GMFS Mortgage. Online at gmfsmortgage.com. gmfsmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage. Changing lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Callahan Injury Lawyer.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Busy day in the NBA playoffs. James Harden's got 15 points. Rockets leading the Thunder in Game 4
52-48 in the second quarter. Bucks on the verge of moving on to the Eastern Conference semis. Milwaukee beat Orlando 121-106 to take a 3-1 lead. 31, 15, 8 assists for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Chris Middleton scored 18 of his 21 in the fourth quarter. In addition to picking up the intensity, defense was a difference, according to Giannis.
Once we play defense, we're able to run in transition. It makes the game easier for everybody. We could get early threes. We could get open threes, wide open threes, driving lanes for me, bled in transition. So when we play defense, it makes the game a lot easier for everybody.
Giannis Antetokounmpo on TNT. Mavericks big man Kristaps Porzingis with right knee soreness questionable for Game 5 tomorrow versus the Clippers. Raptors guard Kyle Lowry uncertain for the series opener against Boston Thursday with a sprained left ankle. Baseball, Indians manager Terry Francona will miss this week's 3-game set against the Twins while he continues to deal with health issues. He's missed 17 games already this season.
Brought to you by Cooper Tires. Go with great tires that do what tires should do and cost what tires should cost. Go with the Coopers.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Muso. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. The kids got to be loving the Barbie girl. The return of Barbie girl. Have you had people tell you that they missed the Barbie girl drop?
I haven't, actually, no.
You liar, Muso. Your lying eyes.
Not lying.
You can't hide these lying eyes. Heard that in a song one time. I've had people tell me they missed the Barbie girl drop. I'll tell you that much. A lot we're going to get to here. If you missed hour 1, Jeff Duncan of The Athletic was with us. You can catch that on demand, AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Golf, or on the After Further Review YouTube channel. You can always watch us on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, and you can get involved in the chat there as well, presented by Bayou Ford. So thanks for being with us. Big news of the day. If you haven't heard, LSU preseason number 6 in the Associated Press poll. That will change in short order, however, because the AP in their initial poll did include teams that won't have a season. So Ohio State was preseason number 2. Penn State was preseason number 7. Oregon was preseason number 9. So that's going to change a lot. And that'll change after football kicks off. And we have football, is that right? A week from Thursday? Is that right? September the 3rd. We will have football on September the 3rd. So, yeah, that's a week from Thursday. We will have college football. Now, it's not necessarily college football that people are going to be aching to see. It's all group of 5 and lower levels. But still, there will be college football on the schedule a week from this Thursday. And once there are games and once games kick off, then they'll adjust the rankings accordingly. AP rankings are out. We told you last week, the FPI, ESPN's FPI updated their whole view of college football with the new schedules, etc. Today, ESPN's FBI has predicted every SEC team's final record. They have LSU at 8-2. Actually, it's like 7.9 and 1 point or 2 point whatever 4. So because they get into decimals. But basically, FPI of course simulates the season 10,000 times. But they're guessing that LSU would finish 8-2. A couple of other observations. They got Bama 9-1, but the two most interesting ones I think are teams that the FPI is undervaluing relative to what the human voters see. Of course, because FPI is a computer. FPI is A&M at 6-4. In a year that is supposed to be Texas A&M's year, if they end up 6-4. That is a dreadful miss for Texas A&M. I don't think there's any other way to say it. And the two teams in the SEC that by far are most affected by the change in schedule are Texas A&M and Florida. Because Texas A&M, if Texas A&M could have beaten Auburn this year, they would have likely gone into their last 2 weeks of the season 10-0. They would have faced Bama and LSU. But they would have been 10-0 going into the final 2 weeks of the season. Now, changing the schedule and adding Florida to their schedule, it drastically changes things for Texas A&M in their 10-game stretch, because you've got a road game at Bama, and you start home against Vandy, at Bama, home against Florida. I mean, you could be 1-2 out the chute instead of, like we're talking about, 10-0 going into the end of November. And then, of course, you've got LSU on the schedule, and you're finishing home against LSU at Auburn. So the start and finish are brutal, and they added Tennessee as well. So, and it's a road game in Knoxville, and a lot of people are thinking Tennessee may increase. But as I mentioned, the two teams that surprised me the most about FPI, where they are not, the computers are not high on that humans are, Tennessee's the other. ESPN's FPI projects Tennessee to go 4-6. And that's a team that after their brutal start, where they lost to BYU and lost to Georgia State, and then caught fire. Won 8 straight, if I'm not mistaken, Tennessee did. They caught fire at the end of last season. They're in the preseason top 20. They're number 25. They're in the preseason top 25. The human beings are high on Tennessee. FPI says, yeah, you're still not there. And when you look at that schedule, trying to carve out 6 losses is doable. Bama, A&M potentially, at Auburn, home against Florida, and then at Georgia. That's 5 potentially, but that schedule goes at South Carolina, Missouri, at Georgia, Kentucky, Bama, at Arkansas, A&M, at Auburn, at Vandy, Florida. I could see 5-5. I could see 5-5 as a very realistic end for Tennessee's season, which would be a massive disappointment considering all of the momentum they built last year toward the end of the season, and then over the summer with the spring and the summer with the recruiting class they're building for 2021. But I always feel like I have to throw this caveat, because FPI is the metric that 2 years ago in 2018 picked LSU 5-7, and they went 9-3 and won the Fiesta Bowl. So just it's worth mentioning. I mean, there were 4 full games off on LSU 2 years ago. But just a couple of interesting observations there from ESPN's FPI. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. LSU closed campus today because of Marco. They will be open tomorrow. But even with the closure of campus, LSU still planned to practice. And you might think that that's negligent, but it actually made a lot of sense, because if you practice before the storm was scheduled to make landfall, then guys are living on and around campus, then all really is safe in order to get there, get your practice in, and bounce. Verge Osbury, LSU's executive deputy AD, was on with Jordy and T-Bob this morning on Off the Bench, and he talked about preparing for these storms.
Well, the first thing we do is to make sure all of our student athletes, where they are, all the coaches contact the student athletes to make sure, if you're here, if you've gone home, wherever you are, we want to know the safety of our student athletes. The second thing we do is make sure all our buildings are secure in the athletic department, and working with the university, the EOC, making sure, everything is secure, everything is pinned down, make sure there's sandbags in areas where we have water, those type of things. Dealing with the football program, we're going to practice like normal. Coach wanted to keep it like a normal practice day at this time. Now, if something was to change during the day with the weather, we would adjust and make sure our athletes are safe. So pretty much we're going to make sure it's like a regular, normal day for us, but we're going to be prepared if something was to happen.
So prepared if something's to happen, but obviously it's looking good that LSU is just going to be able to carry on today and likely tomorrow and likely Wednesday as well, because it looks as though Laura's not going to threaten us now until early Thursday morning. So the next couple of days, as of now, again, we all know how those things can change, should be good. Now, the other part of this conversation that's very relevant is the progression towards September the 26th. And the guys asked Verge about the type of communication he's having on a daily or whatever basis with the SEC office and with the governor's office.
Not every day, every other day. We're always talking to somebody, because bottom line, so much uncertainty. So it's what if this happen? What if this change? What if this happens? What if this happens? So every day, you're talking to people, including the fire marshal's office about, how people enter the stadium, the concourse area, concession stands, safety, parking. There's so many different issues that pop up every day. And so many times we forget about little things that, you realize an LSU football game is about 3,500 people to put on an LSU football game. And you forget, this group, that group, what we're going to do with this group. And all of a sudden, Dan said, well, how are we going to handle this? Or, he asked us, staff, Scott and Stephanie, how are we going to do this? When this happens, how should we do it? And there's so many different groups that we have that's involved with LSU football. So just making sure you're hitting and communicating with each one. So every day is like another thing happens, something changes, an uncertainty part of it. But, Dan has done a good job of keeping us online.
Verge Osbury, again, speaking on Off the Bench with Jordy and T-Bob. If you want to listen to that full interview, you can. But I wanted to play that full cut because what's so obvious is the depth of those conversations that they're having right now. Every other day with the commissioner's office, with the governor's office, about every possible contingency, which is why this is the other relevant part. They asked for an update on possible attendance and tailgating. And the reason, obviously, is because last week, so many SEC schools started making their announcements about what their attendance would be to start the season. We heard from Tennessee and Texas A&M and the Mississippi schools and the Alabama schools and Georgia. So everyone's like, what's LSU going to do? And they're being patient. Verge gave an update on that this morning.
We're presenting plans now to state officials and to the governor's office, and we hadn't finalized those plans yet. One thing, we're going to be at LSU, we're going to be patient. And I tell our fans, please be patient with us. And we're going to work through all the details because, we still have some time here. I know time is getting short on us, but we still have time to make some decisions. And it'll probably be in that number range. We don't have an exact number yet. We're going to try to, satisfy most of our fans want to come to the game as possible. On the issue of tailgating, that's something that we're also still working out. How we park cars, tents, things of that nature. There's so many different things that we're looking for. Dan Gasson has put a great plan together, and it's just got to be finalized, working with the state officials and the governor's office. And once we finalize it, we're going to present out there to everyone. And it should be coming out soon. Hopefully by the end of this month, we have something for everyone.
So a couple of things there. Verge said the numbers will kind of be similar to what we've seen, which is in that sort of 20 to 30% of the stadium range. Also mentioned by the end of this month. So remember, the governor previously announced we would remain in phase 2 through August the 28th. That's Friday. It's Haldane told us this last week, and I'm leaning on him because he works on our news talk station and says he's plugged into a lot of the stuff, that if the governor makes an announcement, it would likely come on Monday, 1 week from today. So theoretically, if you're listening to Verge and kind of reading between the lines, we could find out if Louisiana's moving into phase 3 by Monday. Okay, great. Whenever that day may come, as long as it's before September the 26th. If that's the case, then you could start planning. The reason I wanted to play that first cut about all the contingencies and all the conversations they're having is because when you are preparing for every possible scenario, no fans, some fans, a socially distanced crowd, 50% capacity, full capacity, some tailgating, no tailgating, what spots on campus can you tailgate? If you do have a crowd, like where do you need concessions? Where do you need pop-up vendors, the kiosks? How many custodians do you need? How much security do you need? Like when you're preparing for all of those scenarios, when you do as deep a dive as LSU has, you're ready for whatever scenario, depending on what the government says you can go with. So it's like, okay, if it's a socially distanced crowd, boom, we've already prepared for this. Here it is. Now go enact this plan that we put forward. So all of that makes a lot of sense with how they very meticulously strategize this. But we're likely going to get an answer here in the next couple of days, which is, according to Verge there, because we're here on the 24th, so you got 7 days, you got a week left in this month. So theoretically, by this time next week, we'll likely know what LSU's plan is for attendance, at least at the opener, and then obviously for tailgating as well. And I say for the opener because if we move through the fall and we continue to improve, there's no reason to think that all of the work you're doing right now to plan for every possible contingency, if initially it's a socially distanced crowd, but eventually we get to a 50% crowd, well, all the work you've done now to plan for all those contingencies, you just push go on this one, and then that becomes the direction you go. So my assumption is as the season moves along, you will continue to see, if we continue to improve with all our COVID response and everything, a continued increase in capacity as we move through the fall. All right, it's After Further Review. If you want to go listen to that full interview with Verge from Off the Bench this morning, it's on demand at 1045ESPN.com. Click on demand, Off the Bench. You'll see the Verge Osbury interview right there. All right, it's After Further Review. Let me knock out a quick break. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Speaking of attendance, one NFL coach is drilling the NFL for their attendance policy. We'll get to that in a second. And why Clyde Edwards-Helaire could very much be primed for Rookie of the Year. I did some digging into numbers today. I think you'll find this interesting. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery. Of course, right now, everyone's in storm lockdown mode. Here's hoping we avoid both Marco and Laura. But as you continue doing that, if you need anything in way of supplies like garbage bags or rakes or shovels or trash cans or floodlights or anything like that that you'd find at a hardware store, you can find at Clegg's Nursery. If you need hammers or nails, you can find it at Clegg's Nursery. Remember, they're partnered with True Value Hardware stores. If you want to beat the massive rush at some of the big box stores, some of the other outlets, Clegg's Nursery is conveniently located all over the greater Baton Rouge area, and they're partnered with True Value Hardware stores. So the things you'd find at a hardware store, gas cans, you can find at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. I tell you every day, buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Highlander for $4,000 off MSRP. Yes, $4,000 off MSRP, and we have many in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I build a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Muso, hit me with some breaking news, man. What you got over there?
Well, a little impact potentially to the Pelicans coaching search. Chris Mannix, writer for SI, reporting there is mutual interest between Ty Lue and the 76ers.
So Brett Brown today was fired by the Sixers, and so Mannix is saying Ty Lue has mutual interest there with Philly. That's if you were Ty Lue, like maybe this is the homer in me. Like if you're Ty Lue, where would you rather be, in Philly or in New Orleans? Do you have an opinion on the matter? I mean, because I look and I go, of course, I look at the tantalizing possibilities with Zion. And I look at this young core, if you can keep BI as well, and then you have all of the assets that they accumulated in the AD trade. And then it's also working with David Griffin, who you won a championship with in Cleveland. And there's a lot of things that line up that go, if you're Ty Lue, why wouldn't you want New Orleans? But the flip side of it is I look and go, yeah, well, New Orleans is in the West. I could go to Philly in the East, and I've already got a ready-made superstar in Joel Embiid. You've got another superstar in Ben Simmons. I mean, your core is there. You have a team that's made it to the postseason. It feels like maybe New Orleans is now what Philly was 4 years ago, where they had gone through the process, and they accumulated all the draft picks, and they had their young core, but they hadn't won anything. And they gave Brett Brown a chance to win with that core. And is that a homer take from me? Like I don't. Like I'm so curious if people outside of this area would look at it and say that New Orleans would be the better job than Philly. I guess I see the point with Philly.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. Like you said, they've been to the postseason. They have the superstars, and they're in the East. They're not in. They don't have to see LeBron. They don't have to see Kawhi.
LeBron and AD. AD was so good the other night.
31-11.
Does part of you are you kind of rooting for AD at all?
I'm not rooting against him.
Okay,
Let me put it that way. I'm not rooting against him.
Here's the weird thing. People here don't hate Chris Paul. Like, Chris Paul was a superstar here. He was the greatest player in the history of the franchise. He couldn't win, and he left. You get AD, same scenario unfolds. Greatest player in the history of the franchise, superstar, emerges, can't win, leaves. It feels like people here don't like AD, but they like Chris Paul. What's the difference? Like, one day I want to do like a deep psychological dive into why, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people around here will cheer for AD. Maybe it's just that he went to the Lakers.
With
I don't
LeBron,
know. Maybe so.
Didn't end well here.
Maybe that's the whole thing, is that it's a LeBron connection and the Lakers and all that, as opposed to Chris Paul going to the Clippers. I mean, maybe that's the difference. I don't know. But send me your thoughts. Like, do this for me. Tweet me at Matt Moscona at 1045ESPN. You can jump in the YouTube chat or email me. Either way, Matt at 1045ESPN.com. If you are someone who still likes and respects Chris Paul, but you don't like or respect Anthony Davis, please tell me why. Like, I'm very interested. I've stumbled upon this conversation now, but I'm very interested in it. It's something that has intrigued me for a while. But that's a very roundabout way of where we started here, our launch point, which was Ty Lue and the Sixers reportedly have mutual interest. Ty Lue has been someone that has been discussed often as a possible candidate for the Pelicans job. Obviously, his relationship with David Griffin when they were in Cleveland together is a major tie there, and I would candidly really like to see Ty Lue. I don't know what the feeling is about how his style might work, but the one thing that's undeniable is when David Blatt got run out of Cleveland and Ty Lue was inserted, he didn't let LeBron walk all over him. And to have that type of personality in that chair, I think, is something that this young franchise needs. It needs someone who can be more of a demonstrative personality. And Lue can flash a ring and probably have command a little more respect to that end. So, but like everyone said, I don't think there's going to be a decision made anytime soon. If David Griffin wants to take his time and wait till the bubble ends, then you're talking about till October. I mean, it's going to be at least October until they make a hire. If you're going to wait until the champion is crowned so he could talk to any assistant he wants that's in the bubble right now. So, all right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. If you want to join us, you can. All the ways I just mentioned. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona at 1045 ESPN.
Hey, Twitter world.
It's been a while. I got to remind seriously. We forgot about the...
Wow.
George Truly has been gone since you've been gone, Muse.
George Truly.
George Truly.
That's him.
I'm gonna get you a George Truly jersey for your birthday. Maybe just maybe a jersey. I won't go all in on the jersey. We'll go with the jersey, a George Truly jersey. You can jump in the YouTube chat presented by Bayou Ford on the 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. A lot of ways you can get involved. Let me do this real quick. There's a lot of different directions I want to go, but let me do this. So we told you in the last segment, LSU is obviously still in Louisiana, still planning for their attendance contingencies. We know the Saints won't have fans at their first home game, but that obviously could change by the time they come home in Week 3 against Green Bay. There's the NFL all over is announcing their attendance policies. The Raiders won't have fans at all this year. Dallas has said they want to have a bunch of fans this year. Green Bay won't for the first few games. We learned today Miami will have 13,000 fans Week 1 against Buffalo. That sparked these comments from Bills head coach Sean McDermott about the NFL not having a uniform attendance policy.
Yeah, look, it is what it is. We control what we can control. I think it's honestly ridiculous that there will be, on the surface, what appears to be a playing field that's like that inconsistently across the league, with the different away stadiums. But it is what it is. We control what we can control. That's got to be our mindset, and that's how we attack it.
So while I do understand what Sean McDermott is saying from a coaching standpoint and thinking, look, he's in the state of New York, and New York has said no fans. Like, they're not going to have any fans at their games. We always think of Giants-Jets, but the Bills are in upstate New York as well. And so Week 1 now he's got to go to Miami, and there will be fans. 13,000. How much will it impact the game? Don't know. Marginal, if any. But the flip side of it is, bro, I don't think anybody was complaining when the Chargers have been playing in front of 20,000 fans in a soccer stadium the past few years, of which the majority are not Charger fans. They haven't had a home game in 3 years. Was anybody complaining when Atlanta has a vastly empty stadium? There's a lot of disparity that goes along around the NFL. The Packers, the Saints, they have great home field advantages. There are others that aren't so. I think you just kind of sack up and you go play, man. Regardless. And I don't know how you can tell billionaire owners of NFL teams that you have to leave money on the table. If a given state is saying, yeah, you can open up to fans, even a small amount. Look at the state of Florida, for example, where the Dolphins are. So we found out the Dolphins will have 13,000 fans at their first home game. They'll open up to 13,000. Last year, the average price of a Dolphins ticket, so this is high and low, and the average was $84.51. That was the average, obviously. See, you've got some cheap seats, and then you've got some that are super expensive, but the average was $84.51. You multiply that by 13,000 fans, you're looking at $1,098,000 plus parking, concessions, apparel, etc. And that's not even including if some of these tickets, which I'm certain they will be, would be premium seating where you're going to have surcharges on it as well. So I don't know how you tell a billionaire owner who's looking at major losses, hey, here's an opportunity for you to recoup 7 figures in a given day. And you say, yeah, sorry, man, just to level the playing field across the NFL, you have to just leave that money on the table. Even though your city and state and county all say that you can have fans, you can't do it based on our policy. I don't buy it, man. I think if you're Sean McDermott, you need to suck that up and go play football and understand that these owners are still running a business. I don't know if I'm using this right, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. I hate that saying. I don't like that you can't have your cake and eat it too saying. It's like, of course, if you have cake, you're going to eat the cake. Well, you don't just get a cake and then let it sit there. It's stupid. Why I think this is stupid. All right, it's after further review. Do you like that saying, Muse? To have your cake and eat it too?
I've actually never thought about it until you just said that. And it's kind of true. If it's your birthday cake, you're going to eat some of it.
They're like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I'm like, well, I'm having my cake. But then people are like, well, I mean, just like have the cake, like just there, to have a cake. But I'm like, well, who would want that? Who would just want a cake? you get the cake and you take a picture of it, and then you can have the picture for posterity's sake.
Phone eats first.
Yeah. But then you eat the cake. You don't get a cake just to look at it. You get the cake to eat it. That's the point. And then when you get married, you save your cake topper, and a year later you eat it. I did that. Paul, did you do that? Did you eat your cake topper a year later?
We did.
You did? Was it good?
I believe so.
Yeah. So, true story. We did that too. And Erica, maybe took a bite, and I straight loved it.
Yeah.
For the next couple of weeks, every night I ate off of that cake topper. A year-old cake that had been in the freezer. And I was in it, man. Is that, am I wrong for that?
If it tastes good, why not? I mean, it's kind of weird.
Year-old cake?
Yeah.
It was really good. My aunt made our wedding cake. She's a great baker. Yeah, so she made our whole wedding. The tiered, the big, and then the blue, 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 blue. Let's make that a poll question. Is it weird that Matt ate his entire wedding cake topper, how would we word this? A year after?
A year later?
Yeah, a year later. But it's got the entire thing. Yeah. It's not like we ate a little bit of it and I threw it away. Over several days, I ate the entire thing.
I think I did as well.
Did you?
I think I did.
Okay, see, this might I just remember this. And then I also, my cake was a whiskey bottle. Go figure, right?
Makes sense.
I know, right?
But you won't guess what mine was.
It had a Saints helmet.
Exactly.
Boom! Got him. How well?
I was going to go Braves.
This is how well. Nah, the guy's got a fleur-de-lis on the back of his truck.
That's true. That's true.
Back glass of his truck is a fleur-de-lis. What else could it have been? If you're committing to having a sticker that big on your vehicle, that's the first thing that's coming to mind. Paul, do you have any tattoos, Paul?
I do not.
If you did, what would you get?
I have no idea.
You'd get a fleur-de-lis, wouldn't you? Or would
Probably
you get?
not.
Or would you get Sam's name?
I'm not that committed.
Would you get Sam's name on your bicep? What if I said you had to get a tattoo? What would you get?
I don't know.
09 Super Bowl champs. We all know that's what Paul would get.
XLIV?
Yep. Super Bowl 44, absolutely.
It's after further review. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet Dine In or Carry Out. 24 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. They are closed today. Pluckers is closed today because of what we thought was the threat of Marco. Now, Marco obviously skirted us, and thank God for that. But Pluckers is closed today. They are reopening tomorrow. Not sure for Wednesday, but given the current track of Laura, it looks like Wednesday is going to be good. But we'll keep you posted on that. But Pluckers closed today. It will be open tomorrow. So, look, a lot of kids are out of school. You may need an outing to get your kids out of the house. Tomorrow and every Tuesday, kids eat free. So adults go by, have your dinner, kids eat free. At the Bluebonnet location, they've got Pop-A-Shot. They got the race car games. They've got that claw thing, fish tanks. I'm telling you, it's a great way to keep the kids entertained. Well, you can have a meal, drink a beer, watch some sports on TV. It's Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, Dine In or Carry Out. You don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you. Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Can I tell you how much this makes my day? Ashari Robinson at Ferrari Bayou 225 just tweeted me a picture. 2 Sazerac bottles. One open, or one empty, one full. Absolutely love it. Sazerac Rye, official rye whiskey of AFR. It is a versatile whiskey. Neat, rocks, mixing your favorite cocktail. It's awesome. Had a great conference call with Sazerac earlier today, and we have some amazing giveaways courtesy of Sazerac Rye. So stay tuned. In the next week, we're going to start rolling these out, and it is so football related and tailgate related, whether you're tailgating at the stadium or at home this year. Trust me when I tell you, these prize packs are hot. Like among the coolest things we've been able to give out on the show in 10 years. So I'm so pumped. Do me a solid if, when you go buy Sazerac Rye, and it's super affordable. I mean, you can find Sazerac Rye. I know the suggested retail is $27.99. Some places have it even a little less than that. I probably shouldn't say that. But either way, point is, it's super affordable. It's high-end taste at an everyday price, and it is available. I know a lot of things right now, because of COVID, aren't. But you're talking about a New Orleans brand, born in New Orleans, raised in New Orleans, in our state, enjoyed internationally. It is the most awarded rye whiskey ever. So anyway, shout out to Ashari for tweeting me the picture of a Sazerac Rye bottles. Y'all do the same. And use the hashtag AFRSAZ, AFRSAZ. I just want to get a big compilation of all those Sazerac bottles. If it's Twitter or if it's Instagram, wherever you post it, please do. And tag me and tag at Sazerac Rye or use the hashtag AFRSAZ, AFRSAZ. A lot of people have asked the question, is there going to be a college football playoff this year? And the answer increasingly is looking like, yes, there is going to be a college football playoff this year. And even given so the fact that the college football playoff today did, in fact, announce that they have planned their dates for the selection shows. So the first college football playoff selection show will be, not the selection show, the ranking show, excuse me, you know what I'm talking about, where the commissioner or the head of the college football playoff selection committee talks to Reese Davis and answers all the questions and gives us inane answers about why they made the stupid decisions they did. Now, we may look at this collectively and say, yeah, man, who really cares? Do we really need to see these college football playoff selection shows? And I'm with you in many respects, except that the college football playoff selection shows do at times lend us moments like this.
You can kick a whole bag of rocks straight to hell and back. Because if you're going to sell me on Cincinnati being a quality win and why Ohio State in any way has any consideration consideration of being voted ahead of LSU because of Cincinnati, you can go kick a bag of rocks straight to hell and back. Cincinnati. You know what the Cincinnati rant taught me? When I am clean shaven, and that was in the cold weather month, so I was a little pale. Like I usually have pretty good color, just have thick Italian skin. My face was so red in that rant. I mean, pale guy, clean shaven, red. Cincinnati. They played that at the y'all were there at the LAB. So Louisiana Association of Broadcasters do their award show every year, and AFR won an award. So me and Paul and Musso were all there, and they play your entry, and that was the part of the video they played in front of this whole ballroom whenever AFR won an award. Like, there's me, like we have all these TV stations and these like alt rock and top 40 stations, and then there's Matt going Cincinnati. Would you say that the reaction was like was polite laughter or just like really awkward?
Mix. Some people were laughing with you.
Yeah.
Others were just like, this guy's freaking nuts.
I know, right? Got a bunch of trophies that day, though, didn't we? But it is good news, though. The College Football Playoff announcing their dates. So first one will be November the 17th, first rankings release, and then every Tuesday subsequent. Sunday, December the 20th will be Selection Day. Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl, still set for January 1st as the College Football Playoff semifinals. And then the National Championship game, January 11th, Hard Rock Stadium in Florida. Again, another great reason, just by happenstance, that the championship game being in Florida with Ron DeSantis, their governor, has been one of the more progressive states about returning to sports and about having fans in the stands. So this would be a completely different reality if it were, say, a couple of years ago where the game were played in the Bay Area and, California has been one of the harder hit areas, or if it was in the greater Phoenix area, which has been one of the hot spots in our country. So this is one of those instances where it kind of works out that the championship is where it is this year. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com, new and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. They've got more than 100 certified pre-owned vehicles on the lot. So if you're shopping new, great. Go see our friends at South Point Volkswagen. If you've never thought of Volkswagen, put it on your list. Take a test drive. Trust me, you will experience the style, the feel, the performance of luxury, the great German engineering, manufactured in the USA at their Tennessee plant that I tell you about every day. And then you look at the sticker and go, oh, wow. You can go buy the luxury brand, or you can save about $30,000 and drive a Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? One other quick, this is really cool. Did you see this weekend? I got to find this picture. Doggone it. I'm sorry I didn't pull it up before for our TV audience. Sharif O'Neal posted on his Instagram a picture. So Sharif is at LSU. So he's still waiting on clearance for a waiver from the NCAA for an eligibility waiver. But he is on campus already. So Sharif O'Neal, son of Shaq, of course, who started his career at UCLA and had a heart issue and had to miss his entire first season of college basketball, transferred, is committed to LSU. He's signed with LSU. He's here on campus. Well, Sharif tweeted or posted on Instagram, this is really cool, a picture of him at the Shaq statue at LSU right outside of the basketball practice facility. Really cool pic, man. So Sharif, who's 6'9", doesn't even come up to Shaq's feet on the statue. It's how big that statue is. But such a really, really cool photo to see that by his dad. It's so tough for legacies, right? I mean, it's really tough for when your parent was a superstar to try to follow in their footsteps at that place. Like Eli is probably the best example of someone who did it successfully. Archie was a Heisman runner-up, All-American at Ole Miss, and Eli successfully followed his dad's footsteps. You could look at situations like Josh Maravich coming to LSU, where he was beloved because his name was Maravich, but I could also imagine walking as a walk-on, walking into a building every day with your dad's name on it can't have been easy for him. But the thing about Sharif is he was also just like a major recruit. It's not like you gave the guy a scholarship because he's a legacy. Sharif got the scholarship because he was a great player. I mean, Sharif was the number 41 recruit in the country a couple of years ago when he signed with UCLA, and it was a 4-star, 6'9", 205. He's a major recruit whenever he was coming out of high school. So the fact that you're able to add a guy that's not just a legacy, but he was a major national recruit, number 41 in the country in the 24/7, and then he's also a power forward that can shoot the three. If you're watching this on CST, we've got his highlight video. But you see how he stepped back and shoot the three. I mean, he can also finish around the rim because he's got great size and leaping ability. But you got a stretch four, man, like that's a phenomenal get for Will Wade, considering a year ago, Trendon Watford was your biggest guy, and really you had Emmett Williams playing on the block at 6'5". Now you add Brian Penn Johnson, who's eligible, Josh Gray, the 7. You got 2 legit 7-footers. You got Watford back, and now you're adding potentially a guy like O'Neal on this squad if he can get eligible. Yeah, man, it's not just about the legacy. It's about a legit player here at a position of need, adding size who can finish around the rim and step back and shoot it. Be excited about him, man. Hopefully we get that word about his eligibility sooner than later, and hopefully it works out for the Tigers. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Let me knock out our final break of hour number 2. When we come back, Musso will dust off Tigers in the pros. See if he wonder if he still got the chops for it. Oh, it's been a minute. We'll find out next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org, part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network. But, of course, so much of what the Baton Rouge General Hospital has done has shifted toward taking care of COVID patients and making sure that our community is staying safe. And they've put every protocol in place possible. They've reopened the emergency room at the Mid-City location. They've got all the different protocols in place to keep their patients as safe as possible and keep our community as safe as possible. But remember, the Baton Rouge General is still fully functioning for everything else. Elective procedures are available in the greater Baton Rouge area. So if you need to have that elective procedure that maybe you've been putting off, you can have it at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. They've got a surgery fast pass, which allows for a virtual touchless registration. And they've got the mobile app, which makes everything more efficient, even their express care locations. brgeneral.org for the Baton Rouge General Hospital, part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network.
This is big. Really big. I mean really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richards Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
Hello? What's up, B? What you doing? Chilling at the office working. You? Hanging at the job site. Chilling. Roof's up. Hey, Greg, roof up? Roof's up. Roof's up. Roof's up. Roof's up? Roof's up. Roof's up! Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time. True. True.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Coming up after the top of the hour, I want to share some thoughts on the Saints releasing linebacker Nigel Bradham, which happened earlier today. First, though, it's been a minute. How you feeling over there, Muse? How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good.
Are you?
Yeah.
You look confident. All right. Muso Tigers in the pros. Oh, we nailed it.
Haven't heard the open in a while.
Hey.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Kentucky's Best Hemp. Find them online at kysbesthemp.com.
Take it away, Muse.
Multiple Cleveland Browns beat reporters are saying that former LSU safety Grant Delpit was carted off the practice field today. Delpit went down and was clutching his calf and Achilles while pounding the ground. Doesn't sound great. Ian Rappaport also reporting now that Delpit will undergo an MRI later this evening.
That sucks, man.
He was going to be the steal of the draft, and he still will be.
Of all the LSU players drafted, I surprised a lot of people in interviews when I said I thought he was the most surefire. I mean, that guy would play a long time in the NFL, but injuries, you never know, man. That sucks. God, that sucks. Anyway, okay, sorry.
Garrett Temple last night versus Toronto went for 10-2 in 32 minutes. 4 of 9 from the floor for G-Temp. Even blocked a shot. It wasn't enough, though. The Nets' season ends after a 150-122 loss to the Raptors, completing the 4-game sweep. Jacoby Jones continued his strong 2020 season. No,
he didn't go there.
No, he didn't. He did go 1 for 5 last night, though, with a run scored in Detroit's 7-4 win over Cleveland. Jones is hitting .272 on the year and still slugging over .550.
That's really good. How's Detroit doing?
They're not in dead last this year like they have been.
I've literally not watched a pitch of Detroit baseball.
I think they're around 500.
That's good.
I think they're around 500.
Let's see. Detroit is. You're right. They're not in last. They're second to last at 11-15. The Royals are 11-17.
That's around 500, right? I mean,
423.
Okay, 4 games below. That's not bad. Jake Fraley was recalled by the Mariners on Saturday. No. And placed in the starting lineup. Fraley wasted no time collecting his first hit of the season.
But who does he play with?
It was a double
in Seattle.
I'm getting there. You just got to be patient.
Oh, sorry. All right.
It was part of a 1-for-4 night with a run scored for Jake Fraley. His teammate, Austin Nola. There you go. There it is. Yeah. Had a heck of a weekend against the old Texas Rangers.
Yeah, he did.
4-16.
How about your boy?
Over the 3-game weekend series. That's 5 for 12 with a homer, 3 driven in, 5 scored of his own. Nola's weekend was highlighted by a 3 for 5 day Saturday. The homer came last night. Sounded like this.
This is corked out to left field. This is on its way and gone. Another Mariners home run. Number 4 for Austin Nola.
And
So
the
awesome.
fake crowd went wild for Austin Nola last night.
I'm so pumped for him, man. He's the best guy you'd ever want to meet in your life. And to persevere, was it 8 years in the minors?
New positions.
Yeah. I mean, he's catching now for the Mariners, but he's crushing it. He's doing awesome.
298 on the season for Austin Nola. That's Tigers of the Pros.
Brought to you by Kentucky's Best Hemp. BestFreeHemp.com. Muso, do you want some hemp?
I mean, what do you have?
Well, I got lots of stuff. We've got, look, if you get the free oil, I've told people about this. So this is Lewis Coleman's company.
Right.
If you get the oil, bestfreehemp.com, it's 100% free. It comes like this. Bestfreehemp.com, 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 bestfreehemp.com. Not a joke. Like, you really just get a bottle of hemp, of their CBD oil, for free. Look, it comes like this. Here you go, Muse. Check it. It comes like this. And it comes like in the little oil. And it's oil. You get the dropper. You put the dropper under your tongue before you go to bed. Or not. Anyway, bestfreehemp.com. They've also got gummies, salve. They've got honey sticks. Do you have a dog?
I do.
They got dog treats. If your dog has anxiety or inflammation, it helps. Bestfreehemp.com. Bestfreehemp.com. Bestfreehemp.com.
AFR.
I got a hat for you too, Muse. AFR is brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. Shawbillstire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at Shawbillstire.com. Like I've told you every day for years, bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They win service awards and have for years. If it's Best of 225 for Best Tire Shop in Baton Rouge, they won the same in Acadiana and down in the Bayou region. It's ShawbillsTire.com to find the location nearest you with 18 locations in South Louisiana. You can find the location online. You can chat with a customer service representative online who can schedule service or help you shop tires. ShawbillsTire.com. They treat you like family, and they sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. It's what they've done for more than 50 years. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you. Shop them online at ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Camry for $239 per month, or take 0% financing for 6 years. $239 per month, or 0% for 6 years. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime. $10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, the process is over in Philadelphia. The 76ers fired coach Brett Brown after 7 seasons. The franchise's plan is that GM Elton Brand will continue to oversee basketball operations. The Sixers do have a strong desire to keep Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons together as well. In addition to finding a new coach, Philly does have some roster issues to sort out too, explains New York Times NBA reporter Mark Stein.
They spent big money to bring in Al Horford, to re-sign Tobias Harris. They made the decision to let Jimmy Butler go, and none of that has worked. And they've got 4 guys making more than $27 million on their roster. It's not going to be easy to tweak that roster.
Mark Stein on the NBA on ESPN Radio. In the playoffs today, Game 4, Rockets leading the Thunder 93-89 late third quarter. The Bucks in the driver's seat in their first-round series against the Magic, led by Giannis's 31 points, 15 rebounds, and 8 assists. Milwaukee defeated Orlando 121-106 to take a 3-1 series lead.
Coming up Tuesday, does the NFL long shot for MVP play in Detroit or Los Angeles? And will a Longhorn return to the Lone Star State? Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, Tuesday, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And so that was for my kid. Don't judge me. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. You missed Jeff Duncan in hour 1. Make sure you catch it on demand at 1045ESPN.com, presented by Brett Golf, or on the After Further Review YouTube channel. Among the things we discussed was the surprising news from today. If you missed it, the Saints have released linebacker Nigel Bradham. This came as a surprise because they just signed linebacker Nigel Bradham. And a week into full pads work, they released him. So a little bit of backstory. Nigel Bradham went to Florida State. He was a 4th-round pick. Couple teams in the NFL. Bills, Eagles, went to Philly when Chip Kelly was there. They were a disaster. He persevered there in Philly, became a starter, really good player, and was a starter on their Super Bowl winning team. Well, he had signed a long contract in Philly and hasn't played a full 16-game season since 2016. Played just 12 games a year ago. He's now 30 years old, and the Eagles waived him. They cut him, and the Saints signed him to a 1-year contract. This made a lot of sense for New Orleans because the linebacker core was a gigantic question mark coming off of last year. A.J. Klein left in free agency. Both Kiko Alonso and Alex Anzalone finished the year on IR and have had major injury issues surrounding them in their career. You have Demario Davis, who's an all-pro and is awesome, but after that, it was nothing but a bunch of question marks. Nigel Bradham was a veteran, every-down linebacker that you thought could serve you well while you waited to see if the young guys came along or if Alonso and Anzalone could stay healthy. So this news today, at the start of the second week of full pads, was surprising to a lot of people for some pretty obvious reasons. Like, it was thought that Bradham could be a guy that not only could make this roster, but could vie for a starting job. I don't know more. So I think the response here is one of two things. One is maybe Bradham's release by New Orleans indicates why Bradham was released by Philly. 30 years old, played in just 12 games a season ago, and hasn't played a full season since 2016. Philly took on a $5 million dead cap hit this year to release Bradham. Meaning even though he's not, for those who don't understand that, even though he's not on Philly's roster, he still counts $5 million against the cap. So they're basically paying against their cap to not have him on the roster. That should be indicative of something. That's one thing. Maybe after looking at him running around in full pads for a week, it was indicative that he's just not what he was and what they were hoping he could be. The other side of it, and this is what I'm really hoping for, is that the young linebackers look really good. Alex Anzalone, by all accounts, is running around making plays every day. And he has been one of the guys that has been most talked about here in the early parts of camp. That's great. And if he's healthy, it's clear he is a starter, if healthy. Anzalone has obviously battled injuries during his time in the NFL, but he has had one full season. It was his second year in the league, and when he was healthy for that full 16 games, he made 60 tackles, he had a couple of sacks, forced 3 fumbles, intercepted a pass. Like, as a backup, a rotational linebacker, he was really good. If he's healthy, he's an every down player along with Demario Davis. The other guy that really could be the surprise defensively of this year is Zach Bond. So Zach Bond, as we recall his story, was drafted in the 3rd round. Coming out of Wisconsin, there were a lot of draft analysts that had given him a first or early 2nd round grade. There were, I believe in Mike Detillier's mock draft, he had Zach Bond going late round 1. Zach Bond goes to the combine. He has a dilute sample. For those that don't know what that means, it's essentially you've just got a lot of water and it dilutes your sample. They can't get an accurate reading. Well, a dilute sample is flagged as a failed drug test. When you didn't necessarily test positive for anything, but the sample was dilute, so they flag it as a negative, as a failed drug test. Well, that caused a lot of teams very likely to bump him down or take him off their board. This happened to Zach Mettenberger the year he was coming out. He had a dilute sample at the combine. So Bond is a guy that is essentially a first-round talent that the Saints got in round 3. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised that he's flying around making plays. It is worth noting that after Nigel Bradham was cut Monday morning and the Saints practiced, this is from Jeff Duncan on Twitter, Saints rookie linebacker Zach Bond was having a terrific practice on Monday before leaving the field with what appeared to be a left leg injury. He made 2 tackles for loss in team drills and engaged in a spirited kerfuffle with Jared Cook during pass pro drill. So again, another guy that's just having a phenomenal training camp, but left early today with a leg injury. We'll wait and see what the severity of that is. Considering we haven't seen much come of it, hopefully it doesn't seem like it's anything too serious, but that's okay. But maybe Anzalone and Bond, their ascension, made this decision to cut Nigel Bradham that much easier because you feel like we don't need the veteran guy, the veteran insurance policy, because the 2 young guys we got are flying around making plays and they look great. And then the third guy in the mix is Joe Bacci, the undrafted rookie free agent out of Michigan State, who the Saints love as well and could very much end up factoring into this lineup, especially if he can be a special teams guy. You know Craig Robertson is one of your captains. He's a special teams bandit, and he's a tackling machine, and if you need a backup, he's there for you. So that position, which looked really suspect after Demario Davis, I'll grant you, it's only a couple of weeks of camp, but the fact that you're cutting your insurance policy tells you the coaches are really high on the young guys they have. And that means you're solidifying yourself not just for now, but for the foreseeable future with this young talent flying around making plays. This is one of those things where I look and I go, I really, really wish we had preseason games. And I understand, not like from a competitive standpoint, not everybody wants to sit there and watch every preseason game. Fans certainly don't want to pay face value regular season prices for preseason games, which we're all forced to do if you want to buy season tickets. But the thing that I love about preseason as a junkie is I love to see those battles for those last roster spots. I'd love to see how they're using Zach Bond flying around the field, seeing what kind of impact he's going to make on this team. You know, it's also worth mentioning, Zach Bond has been compared kind of in that same mold as Haoli Kikaha. 6'3", 240, kind of that undersized edge guy, you know? Like, how does he fit in that role? You know, I will be very interested to see how this defense takes advantage of Zach Bond and uses him in this defense. But, you know, if you're in a lot of nickel packages anyway, you take a linebacker off the field, Demario Davis, Alex Anzalone. You need a third linebacker or an edge guy. Maybe that's where Bond or Carl Granderson comes onto the field. But either way, seeing Nigel Bradham released today, in my opinion, is indicative of two things. One, Bradham's a little long in the tooth. And two, you really need to feel optimistic about the young guys the Saints have coming behind him. All right, it's after further review. Monday shows brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. 288-8138, 288-8138, ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Okay, we'll knock out a quick break. When we come back, is the LSU-Texas game going to be rescheduled? Verge Osbury gave us a little glimpse behind the curtain there at LSU's thinking. I want to talk about that. And we got to meet Liam Shanahan via the Hay Fightin' podcast. A couple of interesting things that LSU's grad transfer center said that I want to talk about when we come back. Glad you're hanging out here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air. Make sure as the storms approach, you safeguard your home. That includes, of course, your home central AC, which is outside. Make sure there's not a lot of debris or anything near there that could damage your unit outside of your home. Just be considerate of that as we move into this the storm season. Hopefully, with Marco skirting us today and Laura does the same. But remember, if you do have damage to your AC unit or if your AC is giving you any trouble, call River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001. 752-0001. Look for the big vans and trucks, the giant yellow vans and trucks with the big clock on the side. You'll see them all over town because so many of your friends and neighbors, commercial or residential, trust River City's 1 Hour Air to do the job right the first time, so they save you money in the long run. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
built it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Highlander for $4,000 off MSRP. Yes, $4,000 off MSRP, and we have many in stock. So come on down to Happy Town.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Remember, all of our guests on AFR get a gift from Dead Soxy, deadsoxy.com. Got my purple and golds on today. SOXY, deadsoxy.com. The new standard in premium dress socks. Of course, they got college colors. They got the boardroom collection. They've got no-shows. And as we found out last week, ladies do, in fact, wear dress socks as well, because when it gets cold and they wear their boots, they wear dress socks like mid-calves as well. So, ladies, deadsoxy.com. Use the promo code I messed it up. Sorry. Promo code GO, G-E-A-U-X, and get 30% off any existing offer. So if you see offers where things are already priced 30, 40, 50% off, use the promo code GO and get an additional 30% off at deadsoxy.com, S-O-X-Y, deadsoxy.com, the new standard in premium dress socks, deadsoxy.com. Tweet me a picture of your Dead Soxies, too. Or post it on Instagram. They love that stuff. And I love it, too. So, one of the questions I've been asked pretty regularly has been if LSU was going to reschedule the Texas game. And my feeling on that has been, I'm sure LSU would love to reschedule the Texas game, but I think it is going to be exceedingly difficult to make that happen in any time in the near future. Here was Verge Osbury earlier today, Monday, on Off the Bench with Jordy and T-Bob, and they asked him that question about the possibility of rescheduling LSU Texas, which of course was canceled because of COVID.
We've had just a conversation about we're going to get to that when it comes. I think right now the Big 12, all of us, we're just trying to get this year on, and we're concentrating right now on this year. I think after to kick the ball off on September 26th, then we all get back together and start talking about how we move, change games, do things. And we hope to get the Texas game back here sooner than later. We have our schedules made out already. And, I think Jordan, the future schedule is going to change some. You might see where 2 Power 5 schools on a team schedule. So, Coach O, one thing about him, he's not afraid to do that. And he wants those type of games, and we want those type of games. So we're going to look to get that game back here, and we've had, informal conversations. But after we kick the ball off on September 26th, we'll get more serious conversation.
So there's a couple of things that are encouraging there. The idea of Texas making that trip back to Baton Rouge isn't dead. And my assumption is that's going to be a huge mountain to scale. But clearly, Verge has got his climbing gear, and he's ready to go try to make it happen, which is fantastic because I know LSU fans want that game. You went a year ago. LSU made the trip to Austin. And look,
LSU created a memory forever. 3rd and 17 is something that LSU fans will remember forever. You got Joe Burrow with this, like the queen, the princess wave, Clyde Edwards-Helaire doing the horns down, Jimmy Burrow in the stands doing the horns down. There were so many amazing memories that came from playing that game, which, by the way, as a random aside, is why you need to play more games like that, because you have those types of forever moments. Anyway, but the reality is, and LSU fans desperately wanted, and I'm sure they wanted that game back in Baton Rouge, and LSU administrators wanted that game. LSU was planning on netting in the $10 to $11 million range for that game. It was going to be a massive windfall of cash for this athletic department having Texas come to Baton Rouge. Now that goes away. Here's why that becomes so difficult to try to get it back on the schedule. Next year, LSU's at McNeese. LSU's at UCLA, out in LA. They also play McNeese. 2022, Florida State in New Orleans. 2023, Florida State in Orlando. 2024, UCLA makes the return trip to Baton Rouge. In 2025, you're at Clemson. In 2026, Clemson makes the return trip. In 2027, you go to Oklahoma. 2028, Boomer Sooner comes to Baton Rouge. 2029, you got Arizona State coming to Death Valley. A year later, 2030, you're out in the desert in Tempe. 2031, you got to Salt Lake City. To turn that Mormon city on its head. LSU going to Utah. Oh, my God. I can't even believe that's happening. And then 2032, Utah comes to Baton Rouge. If you abide by your current scheduling format, where you only have one Power 5 non-conference opponent and 8 conference opponents, you can't play Texas until at the earliest 2033. 2033. Now, could you find a spot to fit it in? Well, remember how the Big 12 currently schedules. They play all of their non-conference games the first 3 weeks, and then they play 9 Big 12 games. The rest of the schedule is all Big 12. So as it currently stands, it's not like there's that spot later in the schedule where you can fit in a non-conference game like some SEC schools do at the end of November before their rivalry game. That opportunity doesn't exist when you play a Big 12 school. So Texas and LSU would have to do away with a currently scheduled non-conference opponent in one of these years, or something fundamentally would have to change within the conferences, both conferences, plural, scheduling format that would allow that game to be played in a year where LSU already has one of these. That's the other thing Verge mentioned, is we may see a scheduling change where you play multiple Power 5s. Think about this year. You play 10 SEC games. This is going to open the door to prove that you can play 10 Power 5 games, and it's going to be okay. Some schools already do it. USC last year played 11 games against Power 5 teams. It can be done. Georgia plays Georgia Tech every year as its rivalry game. They also will start the season often with one of those kickoff games. They were going to play Virginia this year. So Georgia had its 8 conference games, Virginia and Georgia Tech, 10 Power 5 games. South Carolina, same thing. They were going to start the season. Sometimes we see South Carolina playing North Carolina. And then they play their 8 conference games and finish with Clemson. 10. Like, it's doable, and it's done by some SEC schools now. So that may happen, but finding the spot on the schedule where it can work against a Big 12 team complicates the matter. But the best news of that is Verge isn't just saying, what can we do? We think back to 2005. LSU had a home-and-home schedule with Arizona State. Arizona State was supposed to play in Baton Rouge in 2005. Hurricane Katrina hits. LSU's home game, air quotes, gets moved out to Tempe, and they end up scratching the return trip, so LSU didn't go to Tempe twice, and now they're back on the schedule for 2029 and 2030. They got it back on the schedule, but 15 years later, they got it back on the schedule. So I would love to see it work, but as the schedules are currently constructed, the only way it can happen in the near future is if both Texas and LSU do away with one of their Power 5 games scheduled in September so they can make that work for the Big 12 schedule. Otherwise, I don't know how it works unless if you're LSU and in one of those years where you play a Power 5 like we just talked about, like 2025 or 2026 or like where you have the Clemson or the Oklahoma, where you play 2 Power 5 non-conference games in September, which seems like schedule suicide, and I can't imagine that happening either. So, like I mentioned, this is a steep hill to climb, but apparently at least LSU's administrators have got their climbing gear, they got their helmets on, and they're looking to go see if they can make this work. All right, tap to further review. Glad you're with us here on a Monday edition of AFR. Remember, you can always tweet us at Matt Moscona at 1045 ESPN. You could jump in the, not in the huddle because the huddle's dead, but you could jump in the YouTube chat, sponsored by Bayou Ford. You go comment there, watch us live on the 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. We're on CST as well. Or you can always dial us up on the JimsFirearms.net phone lines at 499-1045, 499-1045, or toll-free 844-568-MATT, 844-568-6288. All right, tap to further review. Let me do this. I want to stay on time. I want you to hear from Liam Shanahan. Cody Worsham of LSU Digital Media Reporter on his podcast, the Hey Fightin' Podcast, interviewed LSU's 2 grad transfers, Liam Shanahan and Jabril Cox. I want to talk about what Liam said as far as some on-the-field transition. We'll get to that and a major bouquet thrown toward Clyde Edwards-Helaire today. We'll get to that as well when we come back. Glad you're hanging out. Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
Think real estate? Think Darren James. Agent225.com. That's the website where you can find every home listed by every company all in one place. Easy to use. If you're buying or selling, think real estate, think Darren James. Agent225.com. That's the best place to start. Now, you can check Darren's listings. Top of the page, our listings, you'll see them right there. All of Darren's listings for him and his team right there listed on the website. If it's a $100,000 home or a $1 million home and everything in between. Agent225.com. Remember, buying a home, moving, is routinely voted as one of the most stressful occurrences that a family goes through. Darren's aim is to make buying or selling that home and moving as stress-free and enjoyable a process as it could possibly be for you. If you need to sell your home, call the realtor that sells more homes than anyone. Call Darren James and get your home sold. Think real estate? Think Darren James.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hello?
What's up, B? What you doing?
Chilling at the office working. You?
Hanging at the job site. Chilling.
Roof's up?
Hey, Greg, roof up? Roof's up! Roof's up!
Roof's up!
Roof's up?
Roof's up!
Roof's up! Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, cruising through the 5 o'clock hour. Brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll get to Otter Locks here in about 15 minutes. We'll do what we learned as well. If you don't subscribe to Hey Fightin' Podcast, you should if you're an LSU fan. Cody Worsham, who's a friend, who's also digital media reporter. He's the in-house digital media reporter at LSU. Cody does the podcast. Now, obviously, he gets great access as well because he can interview all the coaches and the players, etc. And he interviewed Miles Brennan a few weeks back on the podcast. And on the recent episode, he had LSU's 2 grad transfers, Jabril Cox and Liam Shanahan. Now, I think one of the things that here I've given Ed Ogeron a ton of praise for that he deserves, I think, which is part of the reason you've seen LSU build what I think is a sustainable power, is roster management. Ed looks at his roster, and while it's not just about recruiting star rankings, it's about recruiting positions of need in every possible avenue. So if you need to go traditional transfer, they've gone Thad Moss and Braden Fajoko, guys who became big-time contributors on their championship team. Grad transfers, well, Joe Burrow and Cole Tracy. This year, you were decimated, losing 4 of your top 6 offensive linemen and your top 4 linebackers. What did they go get in the grad transfer market? A versatile offensive lineman and an All-American, FCS All-American linebacker who had won 3 national championships. Roster management. The contrast of that is, and I'm not knocking anybody, but the contrast is the year when LSU went out and they had more kickers on the roster, scholarship kickers, than linebackers. You're recruiting, your star ratings are good, but when you've got 15 scholarship wide receivers and 3 linebackers, that's a problem. That's not happening here, is my point. And Liam Shanahan's a big part of that. So it was a good conversation. I'm not going to recap the whole thing. They talked about how Liam's his father is an immigrant who came from Ireland. Liam Shanahan has a World Series ring, by the way. Now, personally, I'd flush this particular one down the toilet. Musa is laughing over there. Jerk face. They were a really good team in 2018. But nonetheless, fascinating guy. He went to Harvard. He's got 2 other siblings that went to Cornell, sort of an Ivy League family. Like, really good background on him. Go listen to the podcast. You can hear all that. It's engaging. It's fun. Go listen. What I wanted to focus on here was the on-the-field stuff. First of all, here was Liam talking about his mindset in coming to LSU from Harvard.
My mindset really was just, even before I signed and was coming here, talking to Coach Craig, was I want to step in and take advantage of any opportunity that I got, whether it be center, guard, or tackle. He even told me, he said he wasn't sure where I would actually end up playing. But really, I was ready to play anything. I just wanted to prove myself here. I can play here and I can play well here. And ultimately just help the team in whatever way I can, whatever position I play. So
he got his degree from Harvard in finance. So this is 100% a football move. Talked about how he watched LSU a year ago. The offense is a lot of fun. If you want to go play at the highest level, where else but the defending national champs. The kicker, though, is Liam Shanahan has only played guard and center. So he talked about, guard and tackle. So he talked with Cody about adjusting to a new position on the line.
The mental part of it, I've done a good job kind of learning the system and kind of learning the calls and stuff that the centers have to make. And then, just right when I got here, when we started out workouts and like the quarterbacks were throwing the receivers and stuff, I would stay out and get some snaps and stuff. And I guess I guess I was snapping the ball well and got some good feedback. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. Still adjusting to the position, but definitely doing well, I think, and progressing.
So the move to center wasn't even so much something the coaches were trying to shoehorn him in. It was staying after practice and working on snaps, and that going pretty well, and then them kind of saying, I'd have something here, and then getting more and more reps. Now, in moving to center, Shanahan said there's two things that are the biggest focuses for him.
There's two parts of it. Just the calls and stuff are an adjustment, but I think I'm doing well on that side. And then the other part of it is just snapping the ball, just making sure when you're playing guard that you're thinking about making the blocks. That's what you got to do. But when you're at center, you got to remember that before you go and make the block, you got to snap first every play. It's how the play starts. So that's really the big thing.
The other tidbit, which because I know a lot of people get interested in heights and weights and sort of stuff like that. The other thing Liam said is that he played at Harvard last year at 290. He's up to 310 right now. Moffitt's got 20 pounds on him already. Said it wasn't even really that hard to put on with the nutrition center and the strength staff and everything. So they bulked him from 290 to 310. And I don't mind saying this candidly, ear to ground, you kind of pay attention to some of the things people who have gotten an opportunity to see practice, which we haven't, that one of the big questions was physically, how would you do when like Tyler Shelvin at 370 is lined up across from you in that first snap? And apparently on the first snap, it didn't go well for Liam. But he's figured some things out technique-wise and developed. So I'm really fascinated because he's filling massive shoes with Lloyd Cushenberry, who was so good there a year ago, so much so that he went from literally the last member of his class, of his signing class, and redshirting to, I think, going around 3 or 4 to Denver. I mean, round three? Either, like, I think maybe Damian Lewis is third round to Seattle, and Lloyd was fourth round to Denver. Either way, point, it's like a mid-round pick from a guy who was literally, hey, we don't know if we have a spot for you. Just hang tight until signing day, and we'll see how things shake, and we might have a spot for you. 2, starting center, all-conference caliber player, drafted in the middle rounds by the Denver Broncos. That's big shoes to fill. Here was Liam, who, by the way, who has gotten an opportunity to kind of shadow Lloyd Cushenberry a little bit.
I've watched a ton of film of Lloyd. It's big shoes to fill. I was lucky enough to meet him a couple times because he was in here working out in June before he had to go to Denver. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to do everything I can to get on the film and watch everything that he did and ultimately try to be like him because he sure did a hell of a job last year. Lots I can learn from him. So.
Another part of the transition, and so you can obviously tell, you got a smart guy, Harvard educated, finance. His whole focus right now being here is taking his football career to the next level to see what may be there. Motivated guy, son of an immigrant who's worked really hard. Now he's got this opportunity. He's already put on 20 pounds. He's learning a new position. The other thing he said in that interview, which I found interesting, is, look, people get concerned a lot about the calls, and that's part of it. But ultimately, that's Miles Brennan who's going to make the final call if something's going to be done or changed or whatever. So while you're talking about a new center, you also have a fourth-year quarterback who's been with Ensminger for 3 years in his system. That makes a lot of sense that transition is going to be eased a little bit. So more than anything, it's the battery. Like, get that quarterback center exchange down and then go from there, which it appears is happening. But if you, Paul, can you show this again for those that are watching? There's a picture. You can find this on social media really anywhere. It's a picture that's issued from Harvard when Liam was there. Just if you look at the picture of him playing at Harvard, you look at kind of how lean he is relative to what you think about offensive linemen in the SEC, you can tell, like, they had to put weight on him, and apparently they already have. They put about 20 pounds on him already, which is great to see. All right, after further review, Liam Shanahan will not be blocking for Clyde Edwards-Helaire because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is in the NFL. If you don't read Monday Morning Quarter or Football Morning in America, you should. Peter King's piece, which he put out today,
therein, he had a conversation with Brett Veach, who is the GM for the reigning champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. And Brett Veach told Peter King of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, quote, he's on pace to have a big year to be our primary ball carrier. It is becoming abundantly clear that Kansas City, the Chiefs, are infatuated with what Clyde Edwards-Helaire can do in this offense. And it makes a lot of sense, right? There's a lot of people who have been talking about Clyde since he was drafted. He and Burrow are among the leaders for Rookie of the Year odds. Clyde is just a guy that clearly is going to fit into this offense. And the other thing Peter King said in his piece is, if you're a fantasy football guy, said, trust me, use a high draft pick on Clyde Edwards-Helaire because, like, you'll thank me. You know I'm not a fantasy football guy, but clearly those conversations are had with front office personnel about how he's going to factor into the offense. And when I look back at what Andy Reid has done with his running backs in Kansas City, this sort of materializes a little bit. They haven't had, like last year, it was Damian Williams and Darrell Williams, and you didn't really have one bell cow. I mean, Damian Williams on the Super Bowl champions was their leading rusher with 498 yards. Not super great. Now, remember, before that, they had Kareem Hunt. And so as you sort of work backwards, some of this starts to make more sense. Like Kareem Hunt was the type of player, clearly, that Andy Reid wants at that position. Could run it and catch it. Kareem Hunt in 2018 had 824 yards rushing, but 2017 was his big breakout year. 1,300 rushing yards, 53 receptions for 455 yards. The year before, Spencer Ware was the leading rusher with 921 yards. Before that, it was Sharkandrick West, remember that, with 634 yards. But when Andy Reid got to KC, which he's going into year 8, by the way, that blew me away. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but Andy Reid is going to year 8 in Kansas City. He had Jamal Charles. And it was so obvious this is what he was trying to do with his running backs. Charles, that first year in 2012, 1,500 rushing yards, 48 receptions. 2013, 1,287 receiving yards, 70 catches. He led the team in receptions. Reid's second year there. The running back led the team in receptions. 2014, Jamal Charles, just over 1,000 yards rushing, 40 catches. And then obviously Charles was released as he was injured and then couldn't get back. And then they went to Sharkandrick West and Spencer Ware. And they were looking for that next guy like Jamal Charles, and they stumbled upon Kareem Hunt. Now that ended obviously unceremoniously. And then they had Damian Williams last year. And so it's obvious, like when Andy Reid's offense is churning in there, like he wants someone that could be like Jamal Charles, 1,000-yard rusher and a guy that can catch 40 or 50 balls, or in an odd year, 70 whenever Dwayne Bowe is hurt. You don't have that next legit guy. You're looking for options. And then they searched for it. Sharkandrick West, Kareem Hunt. They thought they found it in Hunt. Well, they did find it in Hunt, but then obviously, his time ended the way it did. And then last year, Damian Williams. And now, they didn't waste any time. Let's go get that guy who can be the next Jamal Charles, the next Kareem Hunt in this offense, a guy that can be a 1,000-yard rusher in this offense and also catch 40, 50 balls. Add that guy in this offense with Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball and what they have out wide. Bengal Clyde, y'all. He's going to have a big year in Kansas City. I don't think there's any doubt. All right, y'all. It's after further review. Final break of the show. We'll come back. We'll have Otter Locks. We'll do what we learned. Been a really good day. Appreciate you for hanging out with us here. Stick around on AFR.
AFR.
As we're moving toward 6 o'clock, a lot of people looking for dinner plans. If that's you, Ichiban, how about you pick up the phone and call them right now? Call in your order. Even if you don't want to dine in, pick it up, take it to the house. Either location, Essen near Perkins, Airline Highway in Gonzales. Call ahead to place your order. They'll have it ready for you when you show up. Or you can always log on to ichibanbr.com. ichibanbr.com. For the Essen Lane location, the original, if you go to the website, top right-hand corner, you'll see Order Online. You can tap Order Online. Grab this for me, Paul, if you would. Go to the top right. You can see Order Online. Tap that. You'll see the menu come up. You can place your order, pay for it online, designate what time you want to pick it up, and then, boom, they'll have it ready for you curbside when you pull up. Or you can always dine in. Voted by you the best sushi and best hibachi in the Best of 225 Awards. Ichiban. Essen near Perkins, the original. Airline Highway in Gonzales. All-weather patio dining at both locations. Make tonight an Ichiban night.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I put a button here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. Got storm. Marco skirted us, thank goodness. Laura is threatening, of course. Post this storm, it's a great opportunity to remind you about those impact-resistant windows from Relief Windows. They are Cat 5 approved in Miami-Dade County. It's the windows you see Brandon Holly swinging the crowbar and hitting. It is so worth it to install it. We installed those at our home when we moved in. We have this wall that looks out the back. It's all windows. So we wanted to make sure that we were protected as best we could for security and for safety and for energy efficiency. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks. Jimmy, what's up, dude?
What's up, man? Well, we're just batching down the house over here at Rufino's, waiting for the big storm.
Hey, man.
Having a good time.
I know some places are closed today, but sounds like Ruffino's, they're open for dinner?
Ruffino's is open. Some people are a little hesitant to make reservations tonight because of it, but starting to get a little stream of last-minute reservations for tonight. So we'll be here, drinking with Lincoln, $5 old-fashioned.
Ooh.
Yes, indeed. So come on by and see us over here at the pick for tonight just went off. So I love the Heat. I got the Heat 11-1 to win the Eastern Conference. My 6.5 is a lot of points. They've been really hot from three-point range. How about this, Matt? The last 4 games until Houston just tied it up. Oklahoma City just tied up the series 2 apiece. Another comeback win for Oklahoma City. Last 2 games, all Houston had to do was inbound the ball in Game 3. They couldn't get it done. They lose in overtime. But before that game, the last 4 games in the NBA, has the spread or the game has been decided on a last-minute three-pointer. You saw Doncic's with Luka with the Clips. That wins the game last night. Utah in Denver, Jamal Murray, 25-footer at the buzzer, making the final score 129-127. The Nuggets were +3. Boston in the Sixers. How about my boy Brett Brown? Before he gets fired on the way out, they're down 110-103 with 6 seconds to go. Calls timeout. Sets up 3 for Embiid, and he hits it. It was like the Jimbo Fisher approach against Clemson in the game last year. He's calling timeouts. They got no chance of winning the game, okay? Got backdoor cover this thing.
Got to get it, man.
They sure did. And in Milwaukee, in Orlando, they missed a three-pointer at the buzzer today in the first game today. And that's interesting because Magic dribbled the ball out, Matt, the 2 games 2 and 3. All they need is a bucket to backdoor cover, dribble it out. I don't know. Maybe Fernando Tatis. I don't know what the code is in the NBA now.
I don't know, man. I'm all about Fernando Tatis swinging out of his shoes with a 3-0 count up 6. I don't care.
Absolutely.
Get out
Slam
there.
Diego, baby. 5 grand slams in the last 6 games. They're hot.
You know what? How about this, you ninny pitchers? Don't give up meatballs to pro hitters, you dweebs.
Finally, too, in the first month back for the MLB, they're getting better numbers with the 25 to 54-year-old demo in women. And
Good.
Here we go. Your best star. Let him do his thing.
No doubt.
Man, come on. Embrace it. Embrace it.
You know what else is odd, though, is the NBA numbers have continued to struggle. Like, the NBA viewership has been abysmal. I don't know if it's maybe because you got a lot of day basketball, but even primetime games haven't popped on TV numbers like you thought they might. I don't know what to attribute that to.
You know what? And this is not my expertise, but man, I think it's an election year. People are just so caught up with this thing, man. So anyway, the thing is, that surprises me, Matt, because in the sports books in Las Vegas and in Mississippi, the NBA is very popular, and the handles are out of control good. They really have been very strong. So, there's a difference. Usually those things kind of correlate between the TV ratings and the handle at the sports books. But as far as the NBA goes, it's not that way.
All right, Game Time with Jimmy Ott coming up following us 7 minutes from now here in Baton Rouge, or you can watch him on the Game Time with Jimmy Ott Facebook page on Facebook Live. Check it out there. Thank you, Otter.
All right, thank you, Matthew.
All right, man, we'll see you. He was a little subdued. He didn't give me a lock of the week or a what time is it? Is he all right? Was he okay when you talked to him?
When I called him, the first thing he said was lock of the week. So I don't know.
How did I not get a lock of the week or what time is it? Like, how do I is he mad at me?
What'd you do? Did you do anything?
What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
What did you do to him? I didn't do anything to him.
He gave me the lock of the week.
Did you give him the hemp dog treats?
No, there's right here.
Okay. Maybe we got a subdued Otter. Kentucky's best hemp dog treats. See, Musso comes back one day and you get dog treats.
There you go. Hey.
And a hat.
And a hat.
See?
I love hats.
You keep coming back here. I know you do. Wear that one instead of the Smalls hat that you got from Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
the Jet.
Right. That old Terrio throwback for you. I will do what we learned here in just a quick second. Let me remind you about the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet, Baton Rouge, Ambassador, Caffrey, and Lafayette. Online at theantiagingclinics.com. Theantiagingclinics.com. All this month, 20% off Pico Way laser tattoo removal. If you got that tattoo you regret, 20% off. Pico Way is the most advanced technology for laser tattoo removal. Fewer treatments, virtually pain-free. Pico Way laser tattoo removal, 20% off all this month at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. And
$150 for hydrofacials. Guys, trust me, like, you can do this and you'll love it, but if you want her to glow, to be pampered, she will love a hydrofacial. Just trust me. Get the gift certificate, give it to her. She will love it. TheAntiAgingClinics.com. TheAntiAgingClinics.com. Musso, first day back, what did you learn?
I learned you ate your entire wedding cake topper a year later.
I did do that. Well, we got to check the poll question. Paul,
51% says yes, it's weird.
It's weird, huh? I don't care. Don't judge me. I was a fat kid. Paul, what did you learn today?
I learned that even Sharif O'Neal looks tiny next to a Shaq statue.
Yeah, that's very true. Barely went up to his feet.
Matt, what'd you learn?
58,000 tests, none positive.
AFR.
That was COVID. NFL. Jeff Duncan tweeted it. Go look it up. All right, as we get on down the road, we remind you about the Williamson Eye Center, WilliamsonEYE.com, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. Let Dr. Blake Williamson do for you what he did for me. Coming up on my 2-year anniversary of LASIK. And I was the guy who, for years, nearsighted, couldn't see, like a negative 575 prescription. I mean, couldn't see my hand in front of my face. If I didn't have glasses or contacts, blind as a bat, and was always told, you're not a great candidate for LASIK. I went and saw Dr. Blake Williamson. He went through the evaluation and actually determined I was the perfect candidate for LASIK. And it's something, you hear people say this often, it's something I wish I had done 10 years earlier. You'll feel the same, but don't wait another day. 924-2020. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEYE.com.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.